Tap the screen. Let's get to 50K. Almost ready to go. We could review. Oh my God. Watching Republicans cope over this divorce is fascinating. Hey, Leah. Hey, Max. Hey, Steph. Talking to the YouTube chat. I actually typed right for once. Okay. Let me just get my other computer open with my outline and then we are ready to go. Oh, I didn't pin the goal. Okay. Trying TikTok. Almost done. Just pulling up the outline and then we can get this party started. What? If my computer. Oh, I might have to turn my computer on. Hold on one second.
You know that paper is more sophisticated now than computers.
My computer was okay. For a second, I was like, oh my God. That's my favorite computer with everything on it. You're about to see me have a panic attack. Okay, it's starting. Everything's gonna be okay. My the cloud is not lost. Oh, so I'm trying to wear this like crochet vest, by the way. It's cute, right? I was trying to, I was like, what's in this summer? I was Googling like what are summer trends? I guess we're all supposed to be wearing knits, which I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if this is gonna work out, if this is for me or not.
You know
I'm gonna try, but I honestly don't know.
Computers.
Oh, my computer like completely shut down. Okay, thank God. It's starting again. I almost had the outline open. When I was looking at like what summer trends are, I guess we're all supposed to be wearing knits and crochet, like, knits, like crochets, whatever. I mean, it's new for me, but I wore some last summer. And then the other thing is the good news. Apparently, like the color that's in this summer is dill. Remember, I was saying I used to wear green all the time because of my eyes, and people were like, "Stop wearing green; it's weird." I guess it's finally in style to wear different shades of green this summer. I'm like, "What the f color is dill?" But I think it can be any color green you want, basically. So, just saying, everyone dress like a pickle, I guess, this summer. It is Friday. We made it through another week. Hey, Billy Ray. How's it going in Pennsylvania? Okay, good. I got the outline up and we're good. Okay. I'm trying to think of the order I want to go in. What I want to do today is just show like, I find it, I mean, it's almost like a psychological study watching after what happened yesterday and where we left off, which pretty much that was the entire fight. I think there was like a couple of things, like just some inferences that happened, but pretty much that was the entire fight. And then I was watching like, okay, how are Republicans going to respond to this? What are they saying? It's fascinating to watch Fox News try to deflect for Trump, watch Hannity, like just make up weird story. I don't know. It's fascinating. So that's kind of what I want to look at. Also reactions of people in Congress and things of that nature. I forgot to edit that. Okay. So, and I want to show some things this morning because I think that's a good way to start. I've been tracking or trying my best anyways to track this morning, like, the reaction and what's going on. And I think the best way to kind of catch everyone up is to show this clip of Peter Ducey, which sounds weird, but like it seems like Trump gave interviews to certain reporters last night, like Brett Baer's one from Fox. Oh yeah, and I need to find this clip from Dana Bash. Dana Bash from CNN is another one. And Peter Ducey. It seems like he talked to weird crew of people to talk to, but it seems like those are the people that this morning, starting at like 6 a.m., were like, oh, I just talked to Trump and have been on the news, like kind of whatever. If you want to say speaking for him or saying like, I was able to interview him, here's what he said. So I have all the rest in order. It's just, I need to find the Dana Bash clip. Oh, and then I'm going to show you what Steve Bannon's up to too, because Steve Bannon's basically trying to lead a coup against Elon Musk from the far right, which I'm here for it. Like, this is fine. They could all eat each other while we watch. I think this is great. Leave me out of it. I feel like I'm watching like a psychological study play out when I watch this. I need this Dana Bash clip. It's going to drive me nuts. Here, I just need to find, I know I have this clip somewhere, but I'm good. Okay. Actually, this is what I'll do. We'll start with the Peter Ducey one and I'll look at it, but this is what I want to point out because I've been doing a lot of thinking. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night and I've been clipping things and I've been thinking a lot. Remember last Saturday, so almost a week exactly today, when I sent everyone, I think it was Saturday morning, that article that came out in the New York Times that had all those anonymous sources inside the Trump administration about Space Karen's illicit substance use. And on Monday, I got like 7 violations on the live in the first hour for trying to like report on that. Now, I've been just coming from my background in advertising and marketing. I've been thinking a lot about that. And I think that, and this is just my opinion, and I want people to think, how do things come to happen? Think about how many times like the New York Times has come out with stories that are pretty out there things, like saying allegedly someone Trump's supposed to be besties with is doing all those things it said in that article. And not only that, but there's unnamed sources from the Trump administration. I'm starting to think that was, in my opinion, from my expertise in advertising and marketing, that was Trump, or more specifically, Susie Wiles, right? I think that they were looking to throw him under the bus, right? And what I've noticed after pretty much watching the entire 24-hour news cycle is they're now using that New York Times article. Trump is citing the New York Times to shame and try to say, see, he's nuts. We should all throw him under the bus. Yeah. Like now that I see that was like the opening salvo. They were already thinking like, okay, this guy's out of control. We've got to throw him under the bus. And that article was the step one, right? Think about it. Was Trump like, oh, remember when Elon Musk was in the White House and he was, standing there while Trump was playing clips and he was like, oh, the lying New York Times, and Trump didn't say anything? Hi, J-Man. Are you sitting on the roof? Long time no see. Are you insulting me? I thought we were friends. Haven't seen you. I do debate sometimes, just not currently right now. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't been on Pickles Lives for a hot minute. Sorry, just talking to someone in the comments. Let me get another drink of water. I just ran 10 miles, so I'm really hot. That's why I had to take a shower. Thank you, NJB, for subscribing. Again, we are trying to get back to perpetually trying to get back to 500 subscriptions. That yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner is how you subscribe, or you can buy like 1 month subscriptions for other people. If you would like to support me, please do. What is missing? Oh, I need to pull up one more thing. Sorry, my whole computer stopped suddenly, and now I need to open every window again. Gotta open my email so I can see if anyone sends me any Cash Apps or Venmo. See, good thing I checked. Sorry, I didn't see this till now because I just realized I knew something was missing. Thank you, Ashley, for the $13. I love that amount on Venmo. Popcorn fun for the big, beautiful breakup. Oh, I love that. That's a good one. Big, beautiful breakup is I know. And I did feel like all last night, like I was spying on people who were like in mourning for their weird cult leader. It was so strange. But yeah, I mean, now I see it just from an advertising and marketing perspective. When that New York Times article came out and Trump wasn't immediately on Truth Social being like, who's leaking information from our administration, or these people are liars and we're going to sue them for defamation. That has Susie Wiles all over it. They were anticipating this and they were about to separate from Elon Musk, and they were like, we need to make him look as nuts as possible so that when he starts saying things like Trump's in the Epstein files or whatever the F else, they can be like, hey, did you see that article where they said he was crazy and on all these illicit substances? Which, not saying he's not. Both things can be true, right? You could be on illicit substances and also know that Trump's robbing us with the big, beautiful bill. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. Okay, what is happening? Hold on. I'm going to try to, I just want to move this camera. I got a new webcam. I'm still in frame, right? I'm okay. I guess TikTok Studio will tell me if I'm not. I'm just going to assume I'm fine. So, yeah, that's what I want people to think is like, I think this has been set up, right? Like, and when I play this clip of Peter Doocy, it's almost like Trump is admitting that. Like, that's what I'm getting. Trump did these interviews with Dana Bash, Peter Doocy, and Brett Baier this morning super early. And it seems like that's what Trump is saying even. Like, this didn't happen suddenly. I've been noticing a lot of things and I wanted to get away from Elon. And it's almost like he's confessing to setting him up with that New York Times. I mean, that's what I got for him. Hold on. Let me pull the Peter Doocy article up or clip up, and then I'll find the Dana Bash clip, because that actually, I don't know why the F he's talking to Dana Bash. I found that interesting. I thought he hated Dana Bash, but whatever. CNN, it just goes to show you. I don't know why MAGA talks S about CNN. It's MAGA's network. Okay. Again, Peter Doocy, Brett Baier, and Dana Bash seem to have interviewed Trump super early this morning, and they're talking about it on their respective networks. So this is Peter Doocy's clip earliest this morning.
Memo on the South Lawn a few months ago to try to help Elon Musk's business while it was being vandalized. We're told that Tesla, still sitting there, the red Tesla with Florida tags, is either going to be given away or sold off. And we are told that it was about a month that Elon Musk was wearing thin on Trump. So this was not a sudden exit and then...
What I'm saying, he set him up with that New York Times article. It was quoting people from inside Trump's administration. He's like, we're going to have to break up with Elon. He's going to make a bunch of claims about us, so we got to paint him as an illicit substance user. They set him up to get rid of him, in my opinion.
Blow up. There was about a month that he was wearing thin, the president's word. Something else, there was some reporting today about the possibility of a Trump and Elon Musk phone call to make nice. Aides are telling me that is not something they are tracking. It's possible that some staffers might try to talk to Musk, but no Trump and Musk call, at least not that we know about. We did hear from the president yesterday, and he didn't sound mad, but he sounded disappointed.
Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore, but I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office.
The lowest blows yesterday came from Elon. He said, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. And then he wrote, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. The president, of course, said that Musk had been wearing thin and he was asked to leave. And the president offered up the idea that the fastest way to save money would be to cancel Musk's government contracts. Musk then wrote, "In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately." But he later said, okay, we won't decommission Dragon. Trump rarely seems as close to AIDS as he did for a time to Elon Musk, and we asked about that at the start of his term.
At the end of the day, Elon Musk said today, "I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man." What does the First Lady think about that?
Oh, I think she'll be okay with it somehow.
So this was a sensational back and forth on the platform Elon Musk owns yesterday, but there were signs of strain for the last week or so in public. Elon Musk blew up in the Oval Office during his send-off when I tried to ask him about this big New York Times report that alleged he was blurring the lines between medical use of drugs and recreational use of drugs, and we still don't have any real clarity about that. Back to you.
Right, one thing is pretty clear, Peter. Wasn't Elon Musk really tight with J.D. Vance? Doesn't they have a relationship prior because of their tech backgrounds? And I'm wondering, with him, he's also tight. Elon Musk is tight with Don Jr., too. So I don't know. Did he pre-think this? Is he breaking up with everybody he knows there?
It's unclear how much thought went into this ahead of time, but we are not hearing any Republicans come out to say we are with Elon Musk. Even the Republicans who were with him at a couple days ago when he started saying we need the big beautiful bill to be smaller. And if anything, some of the top folks around here that you talk to, it seems like this actually helps the big beautiful bill, because if
That's where it gets delusional. And I want, listen critically with this stuff, because it's like, whatever are you talking about? I think a lot of people are agreeing with the math of what he's saying, that this bill will blow out the deficit. So there is this narrative that is being pushed by Fox very thoroughly. And that's kind of the point. It's fascinating to watch. Even Newsmax seems to be with Trump, right? Because of threats and probably fear of for-profit media, there seems to be this very clear line of logic where Fox News is trying to be like, nobody agrees with Elon Musk. Everybody loves the big, beautiful bill. We're going to pass it. I haven't heard one person agree with Elon Musk. I'm like, really? Because I've heard a lot of people agreeing with Elon Musk. It's fascinating to listen to Fox and the people that work there try to spin this narrative of like 100% of conservatives agree with Donald Trump.
lawmakers, elected Republicans, have to pick a side between Elon Musk, who wants the bill smaller and killed in its current form, or Donald Trump, who wants it through. Most of the people in elected Washington are going to go with Donald Trump.
Yeah, everybody not named Rand Paul and Tom Massey.
Right.
Thanks so much, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. Elon, this is what Caroline Levitt said. Elon can speak for his companies as a businessman, but President Trump has the responsibility to fight for our country. Ted Cruz was on last night. He said it's unfortunate. They're both extraordinary men. He said Elon's an incredible business leader and businessman, and Trump's phenomenal. Works daily, pulling this country back from the abyss. He said they're both great leaders. When they were together, they were better for the country. And Elon was right. He said we need to make the bill better. We need to make more cuts. And he said in the Senate, they will definitely be doing that.
They're still together. This is just a fight.
Okay, now you're going to hear it get real weird. And I can't remember this guy's name, and I want to say Lawrence Taylor, but that's a former NFL player who was caught in a Motel 6 with an underage escort. His name's Lawrence something, I think, right? The black guy that's on Fox and sometimes listen to the different levels of delusion and how you want to get an example of somebody who's in cognitive dissonance, and for both of them, simping for both malignant narcissists at once. And it's like, this isn't real. Everything's going to be fine. This guy has the worst takes on everything. I always talk about this, how if you're a minority, if you have brown skin at all, if you are Hispanic, brown, black, whatever, and you move right, you can easily be elevated Tim Scott, Byron Donald, so they can use you as like a human shield and be like, see, this black person agrees with me. See, this Hispanic person agrees with me. And I feel like that's how like the two black people on Fox and Friends are. They're like everything they say. I'm like, first of all, you're in cognitive dissonance. Like easy mathematics and logic can disprove everything you say. And like, can you hear yourself? Like, debate, I do think not all conservatives are racist. And I'm now talking about hate in their heart, right? But I think all racists vote conservative. And when you ask yourself why that is, right, it's because of the legislation. I think the legislation brought by conservatives creates a system of systemic racism, right? I'm not debating whether or not Billy the conservative has hate in his heart. I'm talking about systemic discrimination brought about through legislation. So it's hard for me to see in any world where I see like black people carrying water for conservatives. I'm not saying the conservatives you know and hang around and work with have hate in their hearts. I'm saying mathematically, right? The legislation they bring is discriminating against you in every way, erasing your history. So it's fascinating to me to watch these people sound so like insane.
Leader and businessman, and Trump's phenomenal, works daily, pulling this country back from the abyss. He said they're both great leaders. When they were together, they were better for the country. And Elon was right. He said, we need to make the bill better. We need to make more cuts. And he said in the Senate, they will definitely be doing that.
They're still together. This is just a fight. Grown men fight. We don't get to see it publicly sometimes. Yeah, they should have handled this behind closed doors, but there's just no alternative. What is Elon going to do? Go become a Democrat? Going to start a third party? That's not going to happen. He is our George Soros, and Donald Trump is the right's Barack Obama. And the president has a role.
This man okay? Is this man okay? Can somebody please check on this man? Whoever, if anyone knows this man, can someone check if this man's okay? Because I don't think he is. Like, I'm sorry. Trump is the Republican Party's Barack Obama. And remember, this just came out of the mouth of a black man. Like, I'm sorry, what? What
is Elon going to do? Go become a Democrat? Going to start a third party? That's not going to happen. He is our George Soros, and Donald Trump is the right's Barack Obama. And the president has a role. He has to get things passed. He has to bring the coalition together. He has to worry about the Senate as well as Congress, and has to keep the tent together, whereas Elon can put pressure from his standpoint of saying, I want this in the bill, but he doesn't have the responsibility of making sure it gets passed. He's used to having his company where he has the final say. The government doesn't work that way.
He spent $288 million for Republican causes. Tesla stock is down 14%. And the problem he has is Elon Musk is brilliant, but he's not popular. So every Democrat is against him now. And now
It's Lawrence Jones. Thank you, Dust Bunny, for looking that up. I could not remember his last name.
Republicans are asked to make a choice between the most popular Republican and Elon Musk. He's not going to come out on top there. All he has is money.
The most popular Republican is Elon Musk. Can you imagine a world where this is the narrative? Like, Fox News is owned by conservative billionaires. This is your reality. Republicans in rural areas is that Elon Musk is the most popular Republican and Trump is Barack Obama. Are you guys okay? They're robbing you. These are two billionaires. Trump was not a billionaire before he started grifting and stealing from the American people. He stole his way into being a billionaire, or was bribed into being a billionaire. And literally, they're publicly arguing about, hey, you promised me if I stole all this data that we could grift the American people together and we were going to divvy up their tax dollars together. And now you're going back on it. And conservatives seem not able to like correctly identify that this is going on.
Is more sophisticated now than
are people okay? Like, are you guys okay? If these are your two favorite people, watching anyone, especially a black man, be like, oh, I hope they don't break up. Why? What have they done for you? I'm talking about legislatively. What have they done for you? Nothing. Thank you for subscribing, Jojo. Jojo. Thank you so much. We're at 450 of 500, trying to get back to 500 subscriptions. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I'll update. Oh, I think we just have like 30 seconds left. So let's finish this off and then we'll pivot.
And he is brilliant. But Bill Ackman gave a lot of people hope when he put this out and he got a response. He is a self-made billionaire and a friend of both men. He said, I support Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they should make peace for the benefit of the great country. We are much stronger together than apart. And then Musk came right back with this. You're not wrong. Mm-hmm. That beats you're on Epstein's list.
They'll definitely make peace. Donald Trump has had feuds with a lot of other people, a lot of Republicans.
Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance. I mean, pretty much his whole cabinet.
Ted Cruz, remember?
Exactly.
And
I think the next time I debate, like whenever I have the emotional capacity to talk to people whose brains aren't working again, that's what I want to talk to them about. I guess I'm speechless. I'm trying to word this the right way, but I mean, it's not a choice between Space Karen and the orange weirdo Trump. They're both robbing you. It's like I'm watching MAGA, poor people from rural areas argue over which robber they like more, who they would rather break into their home and steal everything from them. Like, do you get that? You're choosing between two people who are violating you. And for some reason, MAGA men are like, oh, I love being violated. I love choosing between two rich men who are about to violate me again. What the F is going on? It's disturbing. Someone said Abrego Garcia is coming back. I think eventually, probably. Like, I was going to talk about this, but I haven't talked about immigration because I get really depressed. But when I thought it's possible Abrego Garcia would come back is when I saw Trump return someone. Trump just had to he returned somebody else a couple days ago. Like, because of a court order, and not even the Supreme Court, he returned a person that was sent to Guatemala. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, like someone must have talked to him behind the scenes and been like, if you keep pushing the Supreme Court, then they're going to push back. So now he's trying to like silently bring people back. And if no one knows what I'm talking about, I'm trying to remember which outline. Yeah, you can look it up. Trump returned someone this week that he illegally deported, and he tried to silently do it and create all these distractions. But that's when I was like, oh yeah, Abrego Garcia is coming back. But they're trying to like not let anyone know, basically. Because when I saw that he listened to not even the Supreme Court, but a federal court order to bring that Guatemalan back, I was like, oh, okay. Like, he gets it now. Someone must have given him a talking to. Like, I bet Samuel Alito or some other creep was like, hey, if you keep pushing, like, something bad will happen. Stop. Here, let me look up, let me see, Kilmar Abrego. But this is, I think, the more important and relevant thing is, this is why we need to protest. This is why we need to be in the streets, be loud. Like what happened in San Diego, what happened in Minneapolis recently, like with what looks like SWAT teams fighting people. This is why we need people in hallways and immigration courts filming ICE agents with masks on trying to tackle people. But just understand, because I want to be clear about when Abrego Garcia gets back, they're probably going to just try to deport him, like exactly what they're doing to these other people. So it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get to stay here, right? They're going to just try to do something to get rid of him again. But we shall see, right? Hopefully he gets an actual day in court. And yeah, he's on the way back to the U.S. See, and this is ABC News, who's not too like Trump centric. So imagine that. And the title is Kilmora Abrego Garcia on the way back to the U.S. to face criminal charges. This man has never been charged with a crime in any country in his life. And they're going to basically, God knows what they're going to try to do to him now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why the lucky person, and I was thinking this, was that Guatemalan that got silently returned, because Trump doesn't feel so embarrassed by that. So that guy got returned, and he's going to try to make an example of this guy, 100%. Someone said this is to distract us from the divorce. No, the divorce is to distract from a lot of other things. Like, that's what I was going to say. I do find it fascinating watching two rich people argue over who gets to rob the poor more, right? Like, but yeah, I also think most importantly, we are going to be robbed. It's not like Elon Musk is saying, hey, we shouldn't be taking healthcare from the poor. That's not what's going on. These are rich people just saying, hey, we need to rob the poor more. Never forget that. Like, they're arguing over robbing us more. It's not like, oh, let's tax billionaires and or corporations, they can pay their fair share and then we won't blow out the deficit. The only way, and even Steve Bannon said it, the only way that the maths is if we extend the tax cuts for the middle class, but not for billionaires and corporations. That's the only real answer. And that's why Musk is just another fraud. They don't want to do the right thing. Okay, hold on. I want to find this Dana Bash clip, because I said Trump did interviews with like 3 reporters this morning. And I did find it. It was my first clip in the presentation. I just forgot where I put it. Okay, so this was like at 6 a.m. or 5:45 when Dana Bash was calling in to CNN to be like, oh, I just got off the phone with Trump. Trump just did like a series of phone interviews.
Joining us now, someone who just got off the phone with the president. CNN chief political correspondent Dana Bash joins us now by phone. Dana, what did he tell you?
Good morning, John. Well, he said that he's, quote, well, here's exactly what he said, quote, I'm not even thinking about Elon. He's got a problem. The poor guy's got a problem. He said he won't be speaking to him for a while, but he said he wishes Elon Musk well. It was a short conversation. He didn't seem very exercised about it. And the interesting thing is, of course, the context of this is how many people who are in both men's orbits are trying to broker a peace deal, so to speak, and trying to get them to talk because of the concern about the fallout in so many directions. I mean, the blast radius from this fallout is really, really big and very wide. But right now he said he's not interested in that, and he's moving on. And in typical Donald Trump fashion, John, he, before I even asked the question, wanted to talk about what he wanted the storyline to be today, about the economy. He was talking about gas prices. He said he was waiting for the jobs numbers to come out, which I think is about 2 minutes from now. So as he has done his entire career, not just political, but since he was a businessman, trying to push out the narrative and push out the story that he thinks is the most advantageous for him. And he thinks that's the economy now. But, of course, we did briefly talk about Elon Musk. And the headline is he says he has no plans to talk to him right now.
Yeah, just to reiterate, again, because the story overnight has been a whole slew of people working to tone things down and to de-escalate. And he's telling you, I don't want to talk to him right now. And then he also threw that elbow saying that, the poor guy's got a problem. So, if Elon Musk is waking up this morning, he might read that, I imagine, as a new insult.
He might. He also said, I won't be speaking to him for a while, I guess, but I wish him well. He wasn't exercising
And literally everyone that talks to Trump, that's the vibe, is like the marketing strategy, the PR crisis management strategy is like, oh, bless his heart. You all saw that New York Times article. He's not okay. I'm sane. Neither one of you are sane. Like, both of you are liars. I mean, and this is, again, I've done a lot of thinking about this. Think about it. It's not that Elon Musk has been honest. It's just when Elon Musk didn't get all the things he wanted in this grift, then he threw a fit, right? Because he's like, hey, I helped you do all this. I spent millions of dollars to get you elected, or even, well, God knows what, even worse than that, possibly. And now you're not letting me grift with you. I'm pissed. Right? It's not that he's doing the right thing for any of us. It's just he's like, hey, you didn't give me, thank you, Lily. You didn't give me what I want. So now I'm throwing a tantrum. Right? Think about it. I mean, I don't agree. We could all get into it, but you're saying he is on the Epstein list. If you cared about women in this country, if you cared about children in this country who were violated by a bunch of rich men, why have you waited till now to say anything, right? I could give a million examples of how Elon Musk is awful. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And all conservatives are. You all sat here, you're sitting here harboring someone who's been credibly held liable by a jury of their peers unanimously for SA. Nothing can undo that. Never pretend you care about women and children. Never, because it's BS. Oh, let me see if I added this, which there's one example, because now all these examples in the big, beautiful bill are coming out about, I mean, we know Republicans don't give a about children. But it's just a perfect example. Again, the answer is no, I will not have sex with you, Republican men. No, I will not have a child with you. You guys don't give a about children or women. Has anyone seen this part of the bill? Oh, I have to find it. It's not in I didn't add it to my presentation, but I know I clipped it, where they are changing the age of dependence from 18 to like 7. Do you think 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, are they dependents? Yes, Mark, we just covered that. Thank you. We did cover Kilmar Abrego Garcia, which, again, is not the real story. Trump already returned somebody he deported this week. He returned a guy from Guatemala, and that's pretty much when I knew, like, Trump's gonna stop the lies. I mean, we shall see, right? I think somebody in his own camp has put pressure on him to stop legally deporting people. But wait, I know I clipped this. Trump is basically, I mean, part of this bill is they're lowering the age of a dependent from like 18 to 7. And we're going to lose a bunch of people, or we're going to millions of dollars will be taken again of tax credits from families with children. I'll find this in a second. I know I clipped this. Where did I put it? Where? Sorry, I don't think the cloud is updated because I'm confused. I know I added that to something. Oh well, I'll figure it out in a second. Okay, let's move on from that because I have so much to get through. I want to switch to, well, 2 clips anyways. Actually, that's a short. Yeah, I have a long one. I want to move on to Steve Bannon and what Steve Bannon's up to, because he's trying to basically get Trump, which he has been. This has always been what Steve Bannon's up to. He hates Elon Musk and is trying to get Trump to kick him out of the country, basically, which Trump has alluded to himself. But let me find this clip of, there's a shorter one, and then I went and found the actual show and clipped a longer clip, which is better, of Steve Bannon. They're basically saying that Elon Musk's immigration status needs to be investigated. And then I heard other people in the Trump administration, I mean, that's kind of the threat. They're basically now saying to Trump, like, hey, to Space Karen, like, You better shut up or you could be out of here too. Remember, this is the guy that had Trump importing South Africans who have no business, white South Africans who are pretending to need refuge here. And now they're talking about kicking the richest man in America out. I do find it funny. Okay, I found it. Here we go. Here we go.
SpaceX. President Trump tonight should sign an executive order calling for the Defense Production Act to be called in SpaceX and seize SpaceX tonight before midnight. The U.S. government should seize it. If a guy's going to sit there and start making quotes, also, as Stuart Stevens talked back in January, I don't know why we haven't had a full investigation. Look, if you're going to deport illegal aliens, you got to deport illegal aliens. The goose and the gander. They got to go back to this, as Stuart Stevens talked about, and go through everything about his immigration status. I happen to believe, given the facts that I've been shown, that he's an illegal alien, and illegal aliens got to be deported. Also, this drug use is reported in the New York Times. The drug use in the New York Times, if that's a fact, that ought to be investigated. You can't have a security clearance, Jack Posobiec, as you know. Jack, if somebody in your unit had that type of drugs and they had a security clearance, what would happen to them, sir?
Well, Steve, remember that Hunter Biden popped positive, I believe, for cocaine on his very first weekend in the Navy Reserve. And even that.
Have you guys ever heard of Pete Hegseth? Have you guys heard of Ronnie Jackson, who was literally demoted from admiral to captain for running a pill mill in Trump's first administration? You guys are talking about people who have addiction issues? I thought was your specialty of hiring those people. Like, you're saying that anybody who is using illicit substances shouldn't have a security clearance now? Why don't you all take an illicit substance test and lose your clearances? Is this a joke? Is this a literal joke? Like, Don Jr. falls asleep while speaking on his podcast, and they're talking, but what about Hunter? What about the Secretary of Defense? What about Pete Hegseth? Why don't you do something about that?
At that time, I don't remember if I think his father was still the vice president at the time. He wasn't president yet, or audio pen president yet. And Hunter Biden was summarily separated from the United States Navy over his very first weekend drilling as a Navy reservist over popping positive.
Also, they should take his security clearance away, and all contracts should be suspended pending that investigation. Also, as I said on the Tim Pool show in Matt Gaetz's office, I think over a year ago, right? That was over a year ago, where I said, hey, he's an agent of influence of the Chinese Communist Party because of his financial relationship in Tesla. That should be fully investigated. President Trump is a bull. Elon Musk is a baby calf, okay? And now it's time for the good of the country, the republic. Forget MAGA and the Republican Party. This is a national security issue now. It's raised to the level of national security issue of a very unstable individual.
Are these people okay? This guy served time for fraud, which, let me help you. We're talking about financial fraud. I read the court documents. Same with Eric Adams. It's not a matter of if they did it. Like, this is a forensic accounting issue. This guy's a fraud who had to go to prison for fraud. And he's talking about other people. You're all criminals. You're all grifters. You're all liars. You've all been under oath and lied. Literally. He just had another trial. And they're like, oh, this guy's a criminal. You're all criminals together. And the best part is MAGA is sitting there like, oh, I hope they don't break up. Why? What have they ever done for you? It is Friday. If anyone's listening, MAGA, if you're listening and you want to tell me, you want to have a conversation about what these people have done for you mathematically on paper, you want to dispute That all rich people have done is concentrate wealth at the top of the economy and refuse to pay taxes. If you have proof that Trump has done something for you, go ahead and request. Tell me what it is. I am interested to know. I don't want to hear your feelings. I want you to tell me in what way has Trump helped you? And I guess it will be your feelings. I guess you can tell me your feelings because none of you ever seem to have any actual math. But that's how debate usually works, is you need to mathematically show that wealth has trickled down from the rich. We have 45 years of data that says the opposite. So I'll be fascinated to hear the argument. Yes, we know Kilmar Abrego Garcia is coming back. We have covered it multiple times. We do know. Okay. Which again, this started this week. They already returned someone else. I feel bad for Kilmar Abrego Garcia because such a big deal has been made of his case. They're going to try to make an example of him. I think other people, and it shouldn't stop there. Remember, actually, let me show you guys something, which this is an article by the Texas Tribune that Katie Fang's talking about, but I like the analysis done by a right-wing think tank, a far right-wing libertarian think tank, the Cato Institute, I think is that I showed you guys like last week and the week before. We know all these people in El Salvador, I'm very happy for Kilmar, but we have at least he entered the United States, which is only a misdemeanor, but he did enter the United States illegally, which I'm not saying that matters or doesn't matter. It's a misdemeanor, but I'm saying that because 50 of the people who are in that concentration camp have not only never committed a crime, but entered the U.S. legally, and they were disappeared. So that's my issue. Like, everyone's like, Kilmar Abrego Garcia's coming back. Yeah, and I think Trump has to stop defying the Supreme Court or things are going to escalate for him and it's going to get worse. So I think, I think it's probably time. But yeah, it's just another distraction. While everyone's someone said that. It's like, while everyone's going to say, oh, he's coming home. Isn't this great? There's 50 people in that concentration camp who were here legally, never committed a crime, and no one's even heard from. And I'm not saying everyone else entered the United States illegally. I'm saying there's 80 something of them they can't find any information on. So they really just don't know. And here, let me pull up this. Katie Fang was talking about this like ProPublica investigation that was done in concert with the Texas Tribune that talks about, they're not quoting from the Cato's investigation, but they've done a lot of investigation as well. Just more specifically, that Trump knew. Trump used the Alien Enemies Act, and the whole story was these are criminals, and they knew they weren't criminals. They knew these people weren't criminals and disappeared them.
I'm just going to share some information with you, which is the following. There's a fantastic Texas Tribune article that I invite you to read, wherein it is revealed that the Trump administration knew that the vast majority of the 238 Venezuelan immigrants that were sent to CCOT in mid-March were not convicted of crimes in the U.S., although the U.S. wanted to label them as being terrorists before they were deported. The government's own data showed that U.S. officials knew that only 32 of those 238 deportees had ever been convicted of a U.S. crime, and that most of those were for nonviolent offenses, such as retail theft, that's also known as shoplifting, or traffic violations. In addition, ProPublica and the Texas Tribune, with Venezuelan media outlets, obtained lists of alleged gang members kept by Venezuelan law enforcement officials and Interpol. Those lists include some 1,400 names. None of those 1,400 names included those 238 Venezuelan deportees that were sent to CCOT, that horrific prison.
Again, right? We have lists of who Venezuela knows is in Tren de Aragua. And none of these people are. None of them. He condemned a bunch of people to be tortured in a concentration camp for attention because he is an authoritarian psycho. So, yeah, it's like, I'm glad we're starting to get traction, but I also think the reason that the reason he's doing that today, do you think that's a coincidence that all Trump had to do this whole time was call up Bukele and be like, mail him back here? And now, when everyone's pointing out he's robbing everyone, stealing from all of us, stealing healthcare from the poor to give tax cuts to billionaires, that all of a sudden that guy's on a plane back here. He could have done it anytime. There was a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling saying facilitate him coming back. And today, of all days, he's coming back here. Everyone think through it. Like, stop being the people that are like, did you guys hear what's happening? Yeah, that's exactly what he wants. Like, he wants to distract you from the fact he's robbing all of us. And it's working. Like, I see it happening. Everyone's like, did you see what's happening? Did you see what's happening? We're being robbed. That's the most important thing. Trump wants to distract from everything happening in the media and be like, oh, look what's happening. He let that man be tortured for God knows how many days. And what we can learn is at any time, he could have sent him back at any time. And if that guy's smart, he will sue the United States government. And guess who gets to pay for that? For him being tortured in a concentration camp? Our tax dollars. That's who will pay for that. And all these other people. Again, remember, 50 of these people were in the United States legally. Crossed here legally, did nothing wrong, and are being tortured. So we're going to have to pay for those. I mean, when those people come out, we're going to have to settle those lawsuits as well for torturing random innocent people who were in the United States legally. So get ready. I mean, yeah, we gave Ashley Babbitt $5 million and Trump, we're rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. Get effing real. This is a nightmare. It's never going to end. The wrongful terminations, the abuse, the torture, the disappearing of immigrants, the amount of lawsuits because he just wants to make up a new constitution and operate however he feels like. Yeah, it's not going to be good. But yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant, Susie Wiles. On today of all days, to mail that guy back here, touche. I would probably do the same thing. You really need a big ass distraction. So, makes sense. I wanted to show you guys, like, just AOC's clips. Remember that hearing I was talking about yesterday? There was, like, a DOJ subcommittee hearing where they were trying to subpoena Elon Musk, the Democrats were, to appear before them, and they didn't have enough Republicans to strike it down, so they were all, like, screaming at each other. Nancy Mace was being Nancy Mace. Well, I just want to show you AOC speaking at that hearing, like, once it got going, and Jared Moskowitz, because, yeah, I think I would be doing everything I could to distract from the obvious truth that this is all a fraud. Everything, Doge, everything Trump's up to is fraud. They're looking for fraud. Look in the mirror.
Here, the underlying bill that we are seeing and considering today reads as a common sense proposal. It's asking that we ensure Congress is informed of efforts to strengthen our domestic grid and improve our electric supply chain. That doesn't seem so bad, except the agency that's responsible and the office that would be responsible for doing this has been doged. So I think what we're seeing, I think, is some confusion from the Republican majority of which one is it. All of these offices have been cut, personnel eliminated, because the Republican Party is saying this is wasteful, it is fraudulent, it does not belong, and yet the Republican majority now continues to introduce bills to do things that they have deemed as wasteful. This office has been doged. So it has been cut. Personnel have been eliminated. So why is the Republican majority also introducing legislation and bills trying to add to work to an agency that has been, by and large, eliminated? In this bill itself, the congressman's study in particular would be conducted by the Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains. The Trump administration has proposed a 75% cut to this office. So what are we doing here? And it's a genuine good faith question. I don't mean this to be a send up. I just want to know, is this wasteful or is it not here?
Yeah, because all Elon Musk was doing, in my opinion, and everyone else who can read and do math and has followed what he did with Doge, was steal a bunch of data and terrorize people, right? Terrorize the federal workforce. But none of that is being recognized by Congress. We're going to have to pay all these lawsuits, and Congress is acting. They don't even, so understand what she's saying. She's saying Congress is not even aware of what Elon Musk has done, right? Like, they've decimated the workforce. I was reading one of the most interesting things. A lot of the jobs, like the jobs numbers came out. The smallest number of private sector jobs was added in 2 years, but the rest of the jobs numbers, like the public sector jobs that were added, are because Elon Musk terrorized and fired a bunch of people. And you could look at the front page of like the Washington Post and the New York Times. What are they talking about today? That they're frantically hiring people back. Hiring people that will sign a loyalty pledge and write a 2-page paper saying why they will be loyal to Donald Trump. They got rid of all these people so they could hire a bunch of unqualified Trump sycophants. That's what's going on. And our tax dollars paid for all that and will continue to pay for all the wrongful termination lawsuits. And people in Congress don't even understand. Republicans are introducing bills that would affect agencies that Space Karen decimated. And meanwhile, Space Karen won't show up to this Doge subcommittee to explain what he's done. It doesn't make any sense. This is our tax dollars. These committee hearings cost a lot of money, just wasting dollars.
But I think it's important, and I think that people deserve clarity. Do Republicans believe that this office is wasteful or not? Because after telling Elon Musk and after telling plenty of people that they're going to go along with Doge, now they're turning around and trying to actually add and reverse all of these efforts that they just cut. So I think we just want some clarity here. Do we believe that this is wasteful or not? Do we want to hire the staff back that was doing this important work or not? If the majority realizes that, maybe all of these cuts weren't a good idea, and maybe these people were doing good, honorable, important work as public servants for the American people, I would love for us to have a conversation about reinstating their work, because certainly it seems like there seems to be some buyer's remorse here. And we're happy to accept any reversals in opinions. And with that, I yield back.
Because none of this makes any effing sense. We have a Doge subcommittee, and the person who's supposed to be there that's done all this stuff that's going to cost us billions of dollars won't even show up and answer to what he did. Van Jones, someone was saying on CNN yesterday, like, the first thing Trump should do is basically subpoena all the Doge workers, like if he was going to go after Elon Musk, because Elon Musk committed a bunch of crimes and did a bunch of things that make no sense. And it's true. Like, it's mutual. That's how I know this probably will just end, because it's mutually assured destruction with those two. It can't go anywhere.
On Twitter, Yesterday, in the DOJ subcommittee hearing, Chairman Comer announced new investigations into the Biden administration. And I thought, of course, this makes total sense, right? We've recently brought back measles and the dire wolf and the tariff policies of the 1930s. So, why not resurrect the failed Biden impeachment? I don't want to go down memory lane about what happened last year. But, they said they would call for impeachment. That's what they said. And they never did. After hundreds of interviews, fundraising emails, and speeches, and lying to their base, they never called for impeachment. On Twitter.
And imagine all that. Now we're Trump. What did he do this week? Oh, we need to investigate Biden. But nobody gives you're talking about a man who has never done a thing wrong. They wasted millions of dollars trying to pin something on him they couldn't pin, never called for impeachment. Those hearings cost us millions of dollars that were pointless. Now they want Comer to do it again, waste millions of dollars on fake investigations to distract from all of Trump's lies and failures. Same reason Kilmar Abrego Garcia is on a plane right now. Distract. Trump's got to force this bill through, right? Trump's got to rob us. Trump's got to steal health care from everyone. So we need a big distraction. That's all of this is. Focus on the fact we are all being robbed. Oh, and then this is, which I do agree. We have to get that clause about artificial intelligence out of this bill too. States can't regulate artificial intelligence or change the laws, state laws around it for 10 years. Yeah, it must be great to have bribed Trump. Those are the people who are benefiting in this bill. Big oil, clean coal, whatever the F that means. And AI, all these tech billionaires.
Mr. Chair, appreciate the waiver on today. Obviously, this is an important topic on artificial intelligence. I got to be honest, I definitely want to meet the person in the Capitol who was like, we're going to have a hearing on intelligence. Let's give that to Chairman Comer. Mr. Chair.
Let's give that. Did you hear him? Let's give that to Comer. Yeah, Comer is clueless. He shouldn't be in charge of anything with the words intelligence in it. But I also think this is a great point from Jared. That's why, he had a couple of great points. But don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. And MAGA, this is for you. If I hear one more time, just someone, everyone, MAGA thinks they debate. First of all, none of you know how to debate. Debate involves data and primary resources, not your feelings. And your feelings, every time I hear MAGA spewing a feeling, it's always just a lie that came out of Trump's mouth. They're emptying brown people insane asylums. Of course that's never happened, but Trump said it enough times that MAGA thinks that's true. Don't listen to the lies that Trump spews. Follow his pattern of behavior, which is robbing the poor.
So, why not resurrect the failed Biden impeachment? I don't want to go down memory lane about what happened last year. But, they said they would call for impeachment. That's what they said. And they never did. After hundreds of interviews, fundraising emails, and speeches, and lying to their base, they never called for impeachment. So I want to do don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. And this is, of course, all a distraction, right? They said they would lower food costs. They said they would take us into the golden age. They said they would end the war in Ukraine and Gaza. They said they wouldn't touch Medicaid. They said they would lower interest rates. They said they would lower our debt. They said they would release the Epstein files. You remember that? This is not one of the ones that Pam gave out. I made my own. It's not hard. Right? And the biggest one, my favorite, they said they would make government more efficient. DOGE, E, stood for efficiency. Name one department, one government service, anything that the government does that they made more efficient. Certainly not the Newark airport. Definitely not FEMA. 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 Definitely not FEMA.
You know, I love his brain. He's a lawyer, but also, I also hate his stock positions. He, profited off, took a huge position in Meta. I don't know, brilliant people in Congress also profiting off insider information. Sorry, wait, what is going on? Oh, there we go.
Okay. And so, look, sometimes people are visual learners.
Is
right?
more sophisticated now than computers.
And so, look, this is what the Republicans promised the American people. They promised them this. Okay. This was the Willy Wonka thing in London. This is what they promised them. This is what it was supposed to look like, right? The golden age. And that's not what they've delivered. What they've delivered is this. This is what they have delivered to the American people, okay? And so...
True. Oh, yeah, this is good. This is Massey when he was asked... This is Massey when he was asked about the Trump-Musk stuff. I can't... Yesterday. No, I think it was this morning, actually.
In the battle of Trump versus Musk, which side do you choose?
I choose math. The math always wins over the...
How many times have I said that? We should all choose math. Trump is mathematically robbing the poor so that corporations and billionaires can get tax breaks. And still, even after robbing the poor, which is all of the rest of us, that can't cover the massive blowout to the deficit. Right? We're still going to blow out the deficit. We're still adding according to the CBO, 2.4 trillion over 10 years. Blowing the deficit out, even after robbing the poor to try to offset the tax cuts for the rich and corporations. Period. That's the story. And we should listen to math. It's basic math. MAGA, you can't do math. So that's why I assume you're in so much cognitive dissonance, is because you can't read and can't do math. I do encourage you to start, though. I think that would be a great idea. And also, I know everyone's like, hey, this is crazy. This is going on. I saw someone talking about Pam Bondi doing a press conference. Everything going on is a distraction from this, from the fact we're all being robbed. So now Trump's like, let's bring Abrego Garcia back. The only feeling anyone should have is, hey, mother effer, you left him in a concentration camp, a man who's never been charged with a crime. There was a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling to facilitate his return. And for some reason, you chose today. You should be pissed that he's insulting your intelligence. You should be pissed that Pam Bondi's now doing press conferences full of BS and distractions. It's all just a literal insult to our intelligence. Yeah, I would do a bunch of distractions too if I was an idiot. To distract the idiots. Because MAGA, they're just like, oh yeah, look, pretty colors. I can't figure out who's robbing me. I'm very focused on being robbed, on poor people being robbed of health insurance, which is mathematically idiotic, of children being robbed of Head Start. You keep saying you want able-bodied people working, then why the F did you defund Job Corps? None of this makes logical sense. So yeah, I too would be trying to distract people from it.
Words. And I trust the math from the guy that lands rockets backwards over the politician's math. I think the patient is on life support, and if the Senate thinks they're going to rehabilitate it and rewrite it, I think they're endangering this patient, because people over here are now looking for more reasons to be against it.
And Aaron, not only are there concerns about the impacts of this bill, what are the impacts going to be on the midterm elections, given that Elon Musk had spent a ton of money, the biggest spender in the last cycle? Will he help Republicans when they're trying to keep the House, keep the Senate in the midterm elections? Musk himself crediting himself with winning back Congress, essentially holding the House and growing the Republican majority in the United States Senate. But I asked the speaker if he agrees with that assessment. He said no one person deserves credit for keeping the House. He said, except for maybe Donald J. Trump.
And I haven't, which you better believe, I will find this ridiculous indictment and cross-reference it with all Pam Bondi's lies, because she is a prolific pathological liar. Which, by the way, MAGA, since none of you can read or figure out, there's 420 people in here, just pointing out the number of 420 people in here, just saying. Keep tapping the screen. By the way, we should be at 200K. I know, I feel a little unfocused and all over the place today. Trump is annoying me to the point where I can no longer focus. So let's focus and tap the screen aggressively. I might just take more of my, I don't even have my ADHD meds in here. I just realized I didn't take them. Like I said, I ran 10 miles. But I want to, I'm trying to think what's the best, because I want to, I'll show it to you. I think that's better. Yeah, okay. Because there's one clip of this press conference, because I was reading about it this morning, but I haven't seen these clips. And again, I've not, I love court documents, so I will read this fake indictment, but I haven't personally read it, so I can't speak to it. But it sounds like there are some reporters who have, and they're like, you keep listing a bunch of you keep saying all these things, and none of that is in the indictment. Like basically what Pam Bondi is doing, right? Because this is all a giant distraction. I thought you couldn't get him back from El Salvador, you fucking liar. Now, when you're robbing us all, we create this big distraction full of lies. But this is what Pam Bondi did before. And this is why I don't want to focus on this also until I just view. And then I can just on Monday, just be like, hey, I did the research and here's the lies she told and here's the truth. Because do you remember? I covered this. Well, I covered it when it happened. And for a second, I was like, oh, maybe they got a real brown gang member criminal. They said Pam Bondi did an 1.5-hour press conference in February, 1.5 hours, saying they had caught the East Coast leader of MS-13. Does anyone remember this? 1 hour and 30 minutes of her crazily being like, he's unalive, so he's a mass unaliver, he's trafficked all these illicit substances, the crimes know no bounds. You know what happened with that guy? There was no charging document. They never charged him. He's not actually a criminal, and he hadn't done any of those things. This is what Pam Bondi does. She creates distractions for Trump. By the way, Pam Bondi, MAGA, is the swamp. While you guys are all pretending to care about conspiracies and the deep state, why don't you look up who she is? She is a literal lobbyist from K Street. She is a lawyer for lobbyists. She has lobbied for other countries and not registered as a foreign agent. Why don't you look up who this woman is? She is literally the swamp. She is doing backstrokes in the swamp. She is a lobbyist. You guys are all like, is Pam Bondi lying to you again, MAGA? And you guys all believe it? I'm so surprised. Remember when they caught the East Coast leader of MS-13 and then they never charged him with a crime because it was not that person? Because they had made it all up and did an 1.5 hour press conference. Did you guys know Pam Bondi did a press conference 2 days ago where she said, I don't know if anyone saw this, Pam Bondi did a press conference and said that she had caught 2 foreign nationals in a swatting case that Biden had indicted during his presidency. That was Biden. Biden indicted those people, and she just did a fake press conference pretending that she had discovered that this had happened because they were going to trial. Like, if you would believe a word coming out of Pam Bondi is a PR rep. If you are really the Attorney General of the United States, you don't have time to make up this many lies. Like, she's a full-time liar. I don't know how else to tell you. She's beholden to the ethics of the bar and is a pathological liar. So my advice to everyone is just assume every word out of her mouth are lies. Oh, hold on. Did I text that to myself? Yeah, hold on. I want to show you this clip because I think that's basically one reporter during her random press conference of lies right now is like, yeah, you're accusing this guy of doing all this stuff. But then, like, if you read the indictment, none of this stuff is in there. So she's doing it again. She's just making up fake crimes in a press conference, and then someone who actually read the indictment is like, yeah, none of this stuff is in there. It's really strange that you keep making up all these weird lies. Oh, it's not strange. This is what she does. Person who makes up lies. None of these people are who they say they are. They're just playing weird roles. Hold on. Again, I haven't heard this clip. I just read, like, the transcript of it. So hopefully this is the point I'm trying to make. And if it's not, I'm sorry. It's Friday.
I have two. One's on topic, one's off topic. Maybe I misunderstood you, but you were mentioning, that he had some involvement in a murder, or was connected to groups that had, involved with this other smuggling ring. But to be clear, the only charges he's facing right now are the, human smuggling charges. Just that's the one offense. But the other things that you have talked about are not actually in the indictment?
No, co-conspirators allege that, and we were clear to say that. He is charged with...
So Pam Bondi is making up a bunch of lies again publicly. Did you hear that? This is what I'm saying. Stop listening to these people. Oh, yeah, co-conspirators. They literally have somebody... Again, this is what people whose brains work... MAGA, this is a good lesson for you. But this is... allegedly the Attorney General of the United States, who is beholden to the ethics of the bar. And what you just heard was double hearsay. She's saying, someone said, I said, someone said. That is literal double hearsay from the Attorney General of the mother effing United States. Hey, I'm just making up, someone said. Double hearsay. And MAGA's like, yep, that makes sense. No, none of it makes sense. Just like you can't read and you can't do math. If you can't understand that none of this makes sense, we can't help you, MAGA. This is why you're in the cult in the first place. You're trapped in a paper bag, just like flailing around, pushing at the side when there's an opening in front of you. You can just walk on out, but you can't. None of this makes any sense. And that's why I say, like, don't be MAGA. Don't, like, run into lives and be like, did you hear? It's like, no. Oh, is Trump making up a series of lies and he has a blonde woman playing the role of Attorney General of the United States who's really a lobbyist lawyer from K Street who lobbied for Middle Eastern countries to do horrific things? I can't anymore. I feel bad for Kilmore Abrego Garcia because that's what it is. He's just, I thought you couldn't give him back. Oh, you could. So you defied a Supreme Court ruling this long. You could have gotten him back the whole time, but now you want to use him as a distraction. And she's saying the fake witnesses we have are alleging. Yeah, that's double hearsay. Same thing again. They had a fake witness because immigration law is different than like criminal law. The burden of proof is different. And remember, the guy that alleged he was in a gang, right? They said he was in a gang in a state he had never been in his life. He's never been to the state of New York. And that guy, the detective, never showed up to court to corroborate any of that and was basically kicked off the police group. Like he wasn't allowed to testify because He's not allowed to because he was basically leaking information to S workers and doing other unethical things. Yeah. This is just a series of lies to distract from the fact Trump and conservatives are robbing us. And they're like, we need a really big distraction to distract from the fact Elon Musk and what Elon Musk is saying, which, you know what it tells me too? That it's true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if you don't think had a weird association. Wait, what? Sorry. Man arrested in an attempted rape after allegedly posing as ICE agent in Brooklyn. What the? Posing as an ICE agent? That's what all these cops are doing with covered face. So it was just probably some cop that was doing ICE arrests who then raped someone. Yeah. That's not surprising at all. That's par for the course. Oh yeah, let me show you another person who did a really great analysis of this distraction. Sorry, hold on. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Where's my presentation? Sorry, let me pull it. Where? Oh, there it is. Okay. Is Melanie Stansbury. She was on Laura Coates' show. She was spot on with all of this. Like, she said it. She's like, this is all a distraction. Like, we need to focus on being robbed. I mean, she also said a lot of other brilliant things. It was a really good 4 minutes. Hold on 1 second. Keep tapping the screen. We're almost to 150K. I know it's Friday. I'm going to play this. I need to go get my ADHD meds too. I did forget to take them. Oops.
Today on that.
This is so good.
Woman, you certainly held court today on that floor. The tea included. You've been critical, though, of Musk, frankly, for a very long time. And you even called Doge a scam on the American people. You kind of read the tea leaves, so to speak, that this bromance would end. But what do you make of this breakup?
Well, I mean, I think I said this on the floor today, but breakups are hard, man. And I don't think I've ever seen a harder breakup in my life, to be honest. It's been real. But, you know, I mean, I think that I'm not totally surprised, to be honest. You've got the wealthiest man on planet Earth who helped to buy an election for who's now the most powerful man on Earth. And they're completely melting down on each other and like in total destruction mode right now. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to emerge out of this in the coming days. But what I do know is Elon Musk, and I hope it's okay to say this on the air, is a total bullshit artist. And you don't have to take my word for that. Donald Trump said that a few days ago. And I think that you could see that in the literal receipts from Doge and the way in which he spent the last several months self-dealing, stealing people's data, giving himself government contracts. And, you know, he tried to wipe his hands and walk out of the White House, but it apparently imploded on him in the last few hours.
Well, this destruction mode, as you call it, is particularly acute right now when we're watching all the stakes, and they're very high for the American people. And you actually replied to Trump's post where he suggested even terminating Musk's contracts by saying, quote, "We'd love to work with you on a bipartisan bill to do just this." But not all of your colleagues, of course, are taking that kind of stance. In fact, Senator John Fetterman said this earlier. Listen.
By the way, John Fetterman needs to go. By the way, she only plays a little part of this clip. John Fetterman is ridiculous.
The Dems, we've been dumping all over Musk and vandalizing Teslas or whatever, and now suddenly we might be more back into him and thing. It's just like it's like, you know, he's right about the big beautiful bill. It's like, you know, we have to decide, you know, where are we thinking about him?
So what is the
If that's your level of critical thinking skills, then you cannot be a senator. I'm sorry. That's what you got? Like, you can't understand that, yes, the big, beautiful bill can be robbing Americans. And mind you, Musk is just talking about the deficit. He doesn't care about poor people being robbed, right? But when you're dealing with people in a cult, saying Elon Musk is right is a strategy to get people to wake up and say, damn, I guess if he said it, maybe it's true. Because MAGA can't do math. They're incapable of doing their own investigation, of reading, of getting outside cognitive dissonance. How many times have they been robbed by the people they voted for? We have 45 years of trailing data that nothing has ever trickled down. And MAGA can't figure that out. They have AI, they have supercomputers in their pockets. So saying, hey, the billionaire you guys blindly love that you believe is a rocket scientist. Yeah, I slept through 4 years of undergrad too. Does that make me a famous historian? No, it does not. But when people are in cognitive dissonance, you say, hey, you worship rich people. Maybe you'll listen to him, because it is true that our children's children will be in debt from this. It doesn't make sense. But the answer to the deficit being blown out isn't rob more poor people. That is the difference. The answer is tax the rich fairly on this at the same rates right? I mean, that's the answer. That's the problem. And John Fetterman, I'm just listening to his comments yesterday. He's not, first of all, he's not even a moderate Democrat. I don't know what John Fetterman is a billionaire simp, and he should go do that full time, or whatever. He's not capable of, I don't know what he is, or who, nobody should reelect him.
Strategy. What ought it to be when it comes to Elon Musk? Is it to embrace or antagonize? Is there some middle ground? What?
Well, first we have to acknowledge that for the last 130 days, that Elon Musk was a special government employee. He broke the law. He stole our data, as I mentioned. He fired thousands of federal employees. He dismantled agencies illegally. And there's now over 200 court cases in the federal court system holding him and the Trump administration accountable. And so I don't think we can.
Did everyone get that? John Fetterman, are you listening? So two things can be true at once. The big, beautiful bill can be blowing out the deficit, and Elon Musk can be right about that. And he can also be a lying, grifting billionaire criminal. More than one thing can be true at the same time. And if MAGA could learn anything, it is that life is not black and white. We're all swimming around in the gray.
Sit here and pretend like nothing's gone down for the last 3.5 months. And I think he needs to be held fully accountable for his actions. Now, politically speaking, I think, as some of us were just saying, America needed this. We really, really did. We've lived through such, I think, dark times over the last few months that, it's hard to not take a little bit of joy in watching them destroy each other. But I don't think we should be embracing somebody who's engaged in criminal activity against the American people and shattered lives for the last 3.5 months.
Yeah, speaking of that, I know,
no one is, except for you, Fetterman. And you're like, oh, I thought they hated Elon Musk. They're pushing his cars into the water. By the way, some person on this earth pushed a Tesla into the water. That's not the Democratic Party pushing Teslas into the water, right? Those two things make no sense. John Fetterman could not follow a line of logic if his life effing depended upon it, right? And then he's like, and now they agree with him. It's what is so confusing. Two grifter criminal billionaires, one is president, one was in an unholy alliance to give him hundreds of millions of dollars to get him elected in exchange for being able to break into government systems, steal data, terrorize federal workers, fire them all, right? These two people just did something horrifically illegal while we all watched. They're both bad. But we are in a crisis situation. We have a bunch of weirdos who can't read or do math who are being robbed by the people they idolize. And when you're in that situation where we're all going to drown in a life raft while trying to convince people who are in cognitive dissonance to wake up and recognize who is stealing from them, I think you have to deploy any tactic possible to get them to wake up and understand. right? I mean, that's the reality. I'll try any line of logic to get MAGA to understand who has their money. Shocker, it's not immigrants. Immigrants are contributing to our economy, contributing to our retirement, picking our food in the fields. All you're doing by being a bigot and cheering on mass deportation is ensuring our financial futures are over.
Harkens back. You remember when James Carville made that comment about, the Democrats ought to, as a strategy, roll over and play dead, and essentially watch the. I'll tell you what he said after that. He went on,
which totally. Do you remember what is that guy's name? Did she say his name? Because it just escaped me. What is that political strategist name from Louisiana?
Roll over and play dead.
I just remember James Carville. That's what James Carville said. Remember? And by the way, I was doing a little research because I was so annoyed by, and not just that. I just want to point out James Carville, which I want to say this carefully because more than one thing can be true at once. James Carville has said some really funny things that I've played on this show, like making fun of Trump, like all sorts of things. He's said things that I agreed with, but I should have known when the first time I saw James Carville was on Bill Maher's show like 10 years ago when I was, I should have known then. I did a lot of research. He's a political strategist. I'm pretty sure he takes money from Palantir and Peter Thiel. So, I mean, we need to take everything, like any moderates, any of these people who are like, America's firing on all cylinders. Let's just business as usual. Let's keep letting lobbyists and corporations and billionaires control the American government. Anyone taking money from Peter Thiel, we need to be super, super wary of. Like when James Carville, I just want to remind you of what he said. I probably have it somewhere. I actually probably have it in one of my many presentations. He basically said he mocked Elizabeth Warren and, was like, oh, she's like frantically screaming. Are you joking me? All I hear are men screaming and yelling hysterically. And if you're a woman who is fighting for their constituents, which, by the way, that's what we sent them to Congress to do, right? In the same breath, James Carville is like, oh, just play dead and let Republicans eat themselves. That doesn't seem to be happening. MAGA's not smart enough to just read and follow the money and recognize who's robbing them. And if I see anybody in Congress just playing dead and not doing anything, I'm going to be very angry. The only thing I want to see is people doing things. I'm tired of people in Congress not doing anything. Do more. And James Carville's like, oh, people just need to be quiet and not do anything in Congress. Like, yeah, that'll work, James.
And essentially watch the control. I'll tell you what he said after that. He went on to say, allow the Republicans to crumble beneath their own weight and make the American people miss us. I saw you kind of wince at the idea of rolling over and playing dead, but his greater message, it appears, was, sit back and let them implode, and then Democrats can seize on the opportunity. If I'm paraphrasing him. We look at this right now. Is that a sound strategy? Are the Democrats doing that?
Well, I think when you have megalomaniacs like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it is sort of mutually assured destruction, regardless of whether or not Democrats intervene. But what the American people want is very clear. They want to see leaders fighting for them. They want to see them fighting for a democracy. They want to see us fighting against this disgusting abomination of a bill. They want to see us fighting against taking away their health care and their food assistance and making sure that we're fighting for democracy and basic human rights in this country. So the idea that Democrats should just stand back and let them destroy each other and not intervene and not actually fight for the American people is absurd. This is.
By the way, when James Carville said that, he ended that dumbass statement with, and in 45 days, this administration's going to implode. Yeah, he said that at the end of February. Did that happen? No, it absolutely didn't. He was wrong. So we need to stop listening to him. And I mean, it's not going to happen. I wish MAGA would get rid of some of their misogyny and recognize that people like Elizabeth Warren You kept saying Trump was going to destroy the swamp. Elizabeth Warren actually does. Elizabeth Warren actually tries to hold huge financial corporations accountable for robbing us. I was just listening to her arguing on CNBC yesterday about financial corporations who are robbing, about Wells Fargo who's back at robbing us.
You know that paper
Like,
is more sophisticated.
if MAGA would stop being misogynist, they might realize some of the best fighters for actually draining the swamp are women. But, I doubt that's going to happen. They would rather elect a billionaire grifter who has been held liable by a unanimous jury of his peers for SA than believe women. So, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. Oh, I want to show you. Okay, I know I should stop doing this, but oh wait, I'm probably going to get a violation. Maybe I should wait till the end of the live before I play those. I found all these really funny videos people are posting, but they have music in the background, which is they're probably going to create copyright violations, but they're so funny. I think first what I need to show you guys is Russ Vogt lying this morning. Like, again, this is why Pam Bondi did that press conference of lies about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. It's all a distraction. Like, these people, it's just whose lies will stick or who will do the. Trump's basically probably sent out an email this morning. He's like, we need huge distractions. Like, everyone get out there and tell a series of lies for me, and whoever does the best job will get a gold star. I'll share in my grifting spoils, whoever does it the best. Because Russ Vogt, this man is Satan, like truly Satan. And remember, he's the author of he's the architect of Project 2025, and he runs the Office of Management and Budget. By the way, thank you for the super sticker, Just Hanging. Thank you for hanging out with me on YouTube. I appreciate you so much. And I was going to say this yesterday. Sorry, I've had so much going on. I have like all these screens. I'm trying to monitor people's stuff. So I try to thank everyone when people give me gifts or like send me a Cash App or Venmo. If I ever overlook it, it's not because I'm not thankful and don't appreciate you guys. I appreciate every single person who supports me. So wow, thank you. I've never seen that one. I wish you wouldn't do that before my ADHD medication kicks in, because I might get distracted and never do anything again. I was invited to a Pride event from TikTok in Brooklyn on the 12th. If only I lived in New York, I could do a lot of fun things for TikTok. But I don't. Okay, I want to show you this clip. Thank you so much, okay, Kristen, for that gift. That was so cool. My brain loves you for that. Again, this is Russ Vogt this morning talking to CNN, basically just making up more lies for Trump.
But the thing is, you're talking about the way that these watchdogs go about these projections. Are you just saying Tommy Tuberville doesn't understand the math?
No, look, I think the way the watchdogs are presented to the American people.
So again, Tommy Tuberville's a Republican senator from Alabama, former coach of Auburn. He's awful. He's now going to run for governor of Alabama, by the way. God help us all. It's almost as bad as Andy Biggs running for governor of Arizona. He must be stopped. But Tommy Tuberville is one of the people who's like, yeah, this bill is going to blow out the deficit and put our children's children in debt for all eternity that they'll never recover from. And watch Russ Vogt just try to dance around math. That's the problem with math and mathematical models. Math is right. You can't deny it.
I think the way the watchdogs are presented to the American people are going off of the watchdogs, whether that's Congressional Budget Office or whether
that's what the Senate does, and that's why Tuberville is saying, and he believes, and Ron Johnson believes, that this is going to add to the deficit over time.
By the way, I looked up who's in charge of the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. It's a Republican who voted for Trump, who I'm pretty sure used to work for Trump directly. Nearest I can tell. That was just a little research I did. I love how Republicans, remember how Caroline Leavitt was like, they all donate to Democrats. They're all liars. First of all, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Math is nonpartisan, period. But I did look it up, and the guy running the Congressional Budget Office used to work for Trump.
10 years.
Kate, I can't explain people's belief. You're asking me about what the facts are, what is reality. The reality is that this bill reduces debt and deficits, and I'm explaining to you why congressional budget.
Nobody thinks that. Not Elon Musk, not any think tank that can do math. No one, except the people paid to lie for Donald Trump.
Office skews their results, and it's not just that they skew the results and don't reflect reality. They also have a historic inability to project the costs of things properly or the savings properly. They are.
It's a lie.
Not dynamic, so they don't do tax relief well, and then they look at spending like the Biden green energy deal. And when they did that, there was $300 billion by their account, and we now know it cost $1 trillion. They are historically off.
The deal you undid, and no one knows that. No one knows that. That's not even true. Like, I can't believe who Russ Vought has become. This is a Heritage Foundation guy. Even the Heritage Foundation is a think tank that does math.
And we're just not going to accept that as we plow forward to get the American people what was promised to them.
I get it, but the question is the way you describe it, you would think every Republican senator, especially those who are deficit hawks, would be super happy to jump on board then, but they're not.
Imagine how simple of a point that is. Okay, if that's true, all of these fiscal conservatives would be voting for the bill, you pathological liar. Every think tank that has modeled this and done mathematical projections says it will blow out the deficit, that it will blow out the deficit more than 2.3 trillion, which will trigger the Pay As You Go Act, which will rob Medicare 4%. So 45 billion a year for 10 years for a total of 500 billion. Nobody denies these things. This guy is a liar.
Kate, you can ask the question 3 or 4 different times. The answer is the same. We have to.
I'm going to lie every time you ask me. No matter how simple your points are, I'm still just going to keep BSing and lying to the American people about us robbing them.
Articulate and explain what the bill does and how the watchdogs go about their business. And we're having great conversations across the board. These members want to make this a moment that can be maximized for fiscal responsibility and debt and deficits, and we do too, and that's why we're supportive of the House bill. Just like some of the members that voted for the House bill, we will continue to have those good conversations and get to as good a result as we possibly can, and it will be historic once the Senate passes this bill.
God, it must be a weird job to be hired to be a fucking clown that works for Trump, just a lying clown that works for Trump. I hope that's what it says on your LinkedIn profile. I'm a lying clown who's robbing the poor to give billionaires and corporations tax breaks. What a cool job.
One of the things that the president said in the midst of this back and forth with Musk is that the best way to save money in the budget is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. Is that under serious?
Here's how you know, by the way, that Russ Vought was sent to threaten Space Karen. Because that's how he ended this interview with just being like, I'm not saying we're going to take Space Karen's corporate welfare. I'm not saying we're going to take his $8 million a day in welfare. I'm just saying we might.
Consideration.
Look, we recognize that Elon benefits from, and his companies benefit from the taxpayer dollars, right? I think there's just a reflection of that and the reality of that as you assess a bill and assess a bill as big as this one, there's a lot of moving parts. And I think that tweet is a reflection of that reality. And we are aware of the interest that Elon's various companies have, and we are trying to put together the best bill for the American people as we possibly can.
It sounds like a yes.
No, I didn't say. What I said was that it is a recognition.
That was, I was sent here to pathologically lie, cause a distraction, and then indirectly make a threat against Space Karen. I'm not confirming it. I'm just supposed to imply it.
As we explain to the American people the realities of people's interests with regard to assessing is a bill good for the country or bad for the country, and the president was stating the reality that the businesses of Elon Musk benefit and work in tandem with the federal government. The American people need to know that.
Absolutely. I mean, is the, just take the one contract, SpaceX. I mean, is a $152 billion contract with SpaceX from NASA, is that worthwhile government spending?
Again, the reality of the ways that Elon has constructed his businesses, Kate, is that he has contracts with federal government, federal agencies, and it's a point to the American people in the midst of a very complicated back and forth legislative process that as we have outside parties now, outside of the federal government, who are opposing for various reasons the bill, it is a point the administration will continue to make that these contracts and relationships with federal agencies are present, these policy provisions in law are present, and that is something that the American people should factor in when they assess where people are, given the back and forth and who's opposed and who's supportive of a bill that we believe is historic, will help reduce the deficit, will.
I just want to point out, imagine when Elon Musk was breaking into government systems, illegally firing people, stealing all our data, and we pointed out over and over that he was getting of everyone, you're trying to take $50 or $55 a day our grandmothers are living on. And in reality, Elon Musk gets $8 million a day. And when Elon Musk was helping Trump grift and lie, then nobody in the Trump administration would acknowledge that. All Elon Musk said was, yeah, this bill is going to add to the deficit or whatever. And now all of a sudden, they're threatening this guy to take away his $8 million a day in taxpayer welfare. Not because anyone cares about us. Not because they care about us. Because these are rich billionaires fighting over who gets to grift us the hardest. We should be very upset by this, by the constant gaslighting and delusion. If Elon Musk is given what he wants, he'll just go back to lying for Trump anyways. None of these people have any integrity whatsoever. It is so annoying. Just don't get confused. I mean, I don't think we will. MAGA couldn't figure out what's going on if their literal lives depended on it, but I'm not screaming at anyone in here. You know what I'm saying, though. It's just these people don't care. Elon's like, hey, you promised me if I stole all this stuff, all this data, and built you this tool to oppress people, that you would let me get 50% of all the grift. It's just sad that this is where we're at. I'm tired of having my intelligence insulted. And meanwhile, let me help you with another thing Trump's trying to distract from. Guess how many manufacturing jobs Trump has lost? 8,000. 8,000 manufacturing jobs. It's just like his first term when he saved 1,000 jobs in the steel industry and lost 75,000 manufacturing jobs. That's what happens when you tariff steel and aluminum. You lose manufacturing jobs. You don't get more. Listen to this. This is the stuff Trump doesn't want people to know about, is that he's running our economy into the ground. And remember, keep in mind, I showed you guys that Wall Street Journal. Another billionaire, Rupert Murdoch, owns the Wall Street Journal, also owns Fox News Corp. They are in a Wall Street Journal exclusive reporting that we can't trust the economic data coming out of the White House anymore. that Trump's cooking the books. Just like why people don't trust the Chinese markets because Xi Jinping like falsely inflates economic numbers. That's us now. Which, you know who that will hurt? The American people. It will make our people, they won't buy our debt. They won't believe our economic numbers. They don't believe our inflation numbers. That's what's basically coming out now. That now that we have an authoritarian running the government who's just making up lies, we can't believe anything he said. So who knows if these are, we know about 8,000 manufacturing jobs lost. Who knows if that's the real number or not?
8,000.
God about this. And listen to this weirdo pathological liar who was sent on Fox Business to lie for Trump. Just listen, see if you can just hear her. She was given one talking point, and instead of just acknowledging reality, she just repeats it over and over. It's scary to watch these Trump administration liars.
Manufacturing jobs were lost in May. That's not what you wanted to see.
8,000 manufacturing jobs.
8,000 manufacturing jobs were lost in May. That's not what you wanted to see.
Well, we're certainly holding steady, and under the Trump administration,
losing 8,000 manufacturing jobs while you're robbing us, which again, MAGA, if your brains worked, you would know that none of what Trump's doing with tariffs will ever bring manufacturing back. In fact, the opposite. It's making it more expensive to manufacture anything in the United States. But you would have to have just a basic understanding of economics and be able to read and do math to know that. Don't take my word for it. It's just fact. We know that. That's why we lost 8,000 manufacturing jobs in May. And she just keeps saying, we're holding steady. Holding steady would be losing no manufacturing jobs, which is still a disgrace because keep in mind, we were projected to gain hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs in the next couple of years. Thank you, Joe Biden. Trump is running that into the ground. We had lost manufacturing jobs due to directly to legislation passed by Biden. We were projected to be on an upswing with manufacturing, and Trump has run that into the ground. No, there's no pandemic. There's no reason for it, just so he can manipulate the markets, drive the markets down, use his excess capital to buy low and then sell high.
Manufacturing jobs are still up over what the last administration under Biden had. The focus of...
I need to say this again. There was an unavoidable worldwide pandemic in Trump's administration, too. Biden recovered from that the best in the G7. Our economy was called the envy of the modern world in December 2024 by The Economist. All Trump had to do was do effing nothing. He could have taken credit for everything, for jobs being created, manufacturing jobs in particular, for the economy expanding. We were going to have 3 more interest rate cuts this year. He ruined it all to try to clamp down on authoritarian control of corporations, of states, of countries. I mean, it's absurd. I love when they're like, well, Biden ruined everything. No, a GD pandemic ruined everything. Do you understand the difference? Trump spent more than any other president in modern history, blew out the deficit, and then an unpredictable pandemic happened in Trump's first term. Biden recovered the best in the G7. Trump has no excuse for what he's done other than being a selfish, lying grifter.
My America at Work tour is to increase those manufacturing jobs, and we'll continue to stay laser focused on that as the president continues to double down on how important this is to the American economy.
But how come we're losing 8,000 manufacturing jobs in May, and when there's a big push to bring manufacturing jobs back to America, how come we're losing those jobs?
Well, we're certainly holding steady, and as we increase construction.
You're not holding steady. This is why people don't trust women. Listen, women's brains work, just not women that are lying for Trump. So let's just make that distinction. My brain works. It just seems to be women whose job is like, nothing is holding steady. The economy is in free fall. When we package up our debt and try to sell it, no one wants to buy it. Nothing is holding steady. No one whose brain is operating believes that we're holding steady. It's like, is this woman, they've just told her, like, just repeat, we're holding steady over and over again. Like, you must have something better than that.
Jobs as we increase healthcare jobs. And again, that focus on building those manufacturing plants, it will take some time. The president has done a wonderful job in negotiating the level.
Manufacturing plants are closing. So what are you talking about? Like, the gaslighting and stupidity of the Trump administration. We need to start an award show for stupidity in politics. And this Trump administration will win every award. I mean, this is gaslighting and stupidity on levels never before seen. This woman might be dumber than Caroline Leavitt, the dumbest press secretary of all time. I don't know. They could compete for biggest gaslighting idiot in the history of United States politics. Who would win? I don't know. Or are we holding steady while manufacturing plants are closing? Is that we're holding steady? Why don't you say it again? Maybe we'll make it true if you say it a third time.
Playing field. As far as the tariff discussions have gone, but those onshoring of those jobs, we're seeing tens of trillions of dollars being reinvested here in the United States. And I'll continue to focus on.
None of that is happening. None of that is happening, by the way. I did an analysis of that a few days ago, right? Trump came back from lying and grifting. He called up Qatar and asked them for a plane, and then act like they offered to give it to him. This is according to CNN, Trump's MAGA for-profit network. And then Trump went to go receive his grift, and grift for other things like Trump Towers and things that would benefit him. And he said that he, on that trip, had gotten $2 trillion of investment. But you know how Trump is. The $2 trillion is a lie. And then it got up to $5 trillion. Well, there are analysis here. See, here's the thing about math and finances. Forensic account, you can always follow the money. It's all a lie. There are people in the Saudi government and the Qatari government saying the Trump administration ahead of that trip called them and said, ask every rich person in your country how much they've invested in the United States in the last 2 years. And all of that didn't add up to anything. So then most of the things Trump claimed were him, bringing investment to the United States are deals that were already announced during Biden's administration. And I just want you to understand something, because I think MAGA just has no concept of how the economy works. If a billionaire in Saudi Arabia says, I'm going to do a deal and build data centers in the United States, that doesn't benefit us. That doesn't give us health care. That means other billionaires and the shareholders that work on those deals will get richer, right? That does not mean anything for any of us. Trump did this same thing in his first term. Look up Foxconn, look up SoftBank and whatever. I can't remember that Japanese guy's name now. Something Yoshi or whatever. And they were going to invest $1 trillion. No, not one dime was ever invested. Stop believing the lies. And this woman, is it me, or does this kind of like bootleg Laura Loomer? Like, I don't know what's happening here, but you need to be ashamed of yourself. And I'm just saying, there's no amount of money you could pay me to do what she just did, to look that stupid. There's no amount of money on earth. That's why I left corporate America, because I was like, yeah, I'm not going to just be lying and robbing people for you. Just hypothetically, if I had said that, I didn't. I signed an NDA, and I love the tech industry so much. It's amazing, especially the company I worked for. And and by the way, Mike Johnson this morning, he's still doing it. He's like, I've been texting and calling Elon. I don't know why he won't get back. Like, Mike, you are Trump's lapdog. Nobody wants to talk to you about anything. Like, I'm so surprised he seems so, like, confused. Nobody values you, respects you. You're a spineless weirdo who turned over control of the legislative branch to an authoritarian grifter. Nobody respects you.
But I don't know. We were going to talk about the bill, obviously, but can we at least touch on this and what you know? I thought you were supposed to have a conversation yesterday with Elon. Did that happen, or was it just text?
Well, we exchanged text messages yesterday. I spoke with him at length on Monday, and that's why the kind of the blow up that happened this week was very surprising, disappointing to me. We had a very friendly conversation. I really like Elon. He's a friend. I've come to truly respect his acumen. The Doge effort was heroic, patriotic, helped us find a lot of savings and abuses that Congress was not able to uncover previously. So huge contributions. And look, we can have policy differences. We have that here in this building, every day, but it's not personal. It shouldn't be personal. I don't tell my friend Elon I don't argue with him about how to build rockets, and I wish he wouldn't argue with me about how to craft legislation and pass it. But we've had some good discussion. I thought it was helpful, fruitful, but it's just disappointing. I hope it all resolves today. Look, these are two titans. I respect them both. I'm of course a huge fan and supporter of President Trump. I was with him.
You are a fan. You are a loser and a fan. Thank you for finally saying something I can agree with. You are a fan. You creep. And if anybody, whoever is this district that keeps reelecting this guy, tell me without telling me none of your brains work. This guy is a spineless fan. The Speaker of the House, the legislative branch, and don't believe me, read the Constitution. MAGA, I'm not talking about 2A, I'm talking about the rest of it, the parts you don't know anything about. The legislative branch has more power than any other branch. That's why they have the power of impeachment and of appropriation. And this guy has neutered the legislative branch, the checks and balances against authoritarian takeover of the executive branch. You have no spine and no one respects you. And he's like, I texted him. I don't know why he's not calling me back. You are a loser. Sorry. I can't waste any more time not saying what I think. Mike Johnson, shame. And by the way, Louisiana is going to lose more, this guy is a representative from Louisiana, a depressed red state in a health desert where more rural hospitals are going to close and more poor and middle class people will be thrown off Medicaid. Meanwhile, on his knees for Elon Musk, wondering why he won't text him back. Yeah, great job. You guys really chose a great person to represent you in Congress. Someone that's too busy giving Andrew Jacksons to billionaire grifters than to do what's right for the people that voted to send him to Congress.
Republicans talked a very good game about defending Medicaid. And then every single one of them collapsed at the end and caved to Donald Trump and voted for a bill that would represent the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, that will close down rural hospitals in their districts and do a whole bunch of damage to people all across the country. And in fact, at the end of the day, Trump's one big ugly bill didn't get more moderate in the last 24 hours before it was brought to the floor of the House for a vote. It got more extreme, including as it relates to throwing more people off their health care. And what did these so-called moderate Republicans do? They all fell in line and voted for it. Give me a break. So there's no reason for us to believe in the House of Representatives that these so-called moderate Republicans will do anything at the end of the day other than bend the knee to their puppet master, Donald Trump. Because all they've been is a reckless rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda.
Preach. I mean, I feel like I just said that, but I'm just a woman with a tiny brain, so I like to have a man just repeat what I just said. That way, if any MAGA men are listening and then they're like, she's just a woman with a tiny brain, I like to just have a man then immediately after I say something, say it. So that way I know then MAGA men heard it. They're like, why didn't you just say that? I'm like, yeah, I just did. You guys just don't listen when women talk. So, that's my strategy though. It's like I say something, then I'm like, need a red-blooded American male to just say the same words. Exactly. Yeah, to mansplain it to MAGA just immediately after. For the ones that are incapable of listening when women smarter than them speak. Oh, yeah. It is Friday, so let me just do another announcement. This is for you, MAGA. All you men that I do regularly publicly humiliate in debates. We are moving into a recession. I mean, I understand that because I did take macro and microeconomics, and I can read and I can do math. So I will be starting a secondary career outside of just talking about politics. I am available to belittle MAGA men. I mean, I'll belittle any man for money, but I would prefer if it was MAGA, because maybe they could actually learn something, like whilst I'm belittling them for money, maybe I could belittle them about politics. Maybe I could belittle them into reading. Who knows? I'm so good at it. I really have been so good at it for so long. So do email me, MAGA men. I think half of you enjoy being humiliated. So I will be doing that for money soon. So just let me know. You can message me if you're interested in me humiliating you for money. I heard it's a whole category of corn. It's called financial domination. Yeah, that's going to be my new career, or second career. I'll still do this. I just will also make men cry for money, which is basically what I'm doing anyways. So, it just will be it'll just be a side biz, If you know, you know. I know. I only knew those words, financial domination, because I've been joking about this for years. Like, it actually started when I was in college. People were like, you're mean. But, and I used to joke about this, and then women in the comments were like, that's what I do for a living. And I'm like, what? I've met two people on TikTok that's their job, is just belittling men for money. I'm like, why didn't someone tell me this was a viable career path? I would have made so many different choices in life. Now, I mean, whatever, now I know. And that's what we're all going to be sex workers soon. It's fine, you guys. Just accept it. We're all going to be doing sex work. And if you don't really want to have to do actual S work, then just figure out creative ways to do it. You could stick your feet in cakes. Apparently that's a thing. I'm not kidding. I've been doing some research. Apparently you could just stick your foot in a bowl of spaghetti and take pictures of it and become rich. I'm just offering people alternative careers. I've been doing some research into the S industry. You don't necessarily have to have sex with anyone to get money. Who you just got to be super creative. Or who are those people, what is it called? Mukbang? They just eat 10 pizzas and record themselves doing it. Rogue Jim, did you just come in here? Yeah, we're just talking about alternative career paths as we enter into the recession that MAGA can't see coming because they can't count. I'm just offering, you could be an S worker and you don't necessarily have to have anyone touch you. That's all I'm telling people is like, I'm going to belittle men for money. And I'm just saying, like, you could stick your foot in a bowl of spaghetti and take pictures of it and make money. So just giving some hope to the masses. Oh, by the way, Mike Johnson, I mean, outside of constantly being on his knees and begging Elon Musk to text him back all morning, he also said something really gross. I don't know if this is going to become a talking point, but this is going to make me furious. Their new talking point for why it's okay that we are in like fascist America Gestapo mode where fake ICE agents cover their faces with masks. You know what? Listen to Mike Johnson justify it. Prepared to be infuriated.
From the people who mandated mask wearing for years in America, it's absurd. They need to back off of ICE and respect our agents and stop protesting against them.
You're okay with these agents sort of not identifying themselves when they're arresting migrants?
Why? So that they can target them? So they can put their names and faces online and dox them? That's what these activists do.
Can you believe that these people are serious? Yeah, Mike, some of us understand, infectious disease because we did take basic biology courses. So we do understand the spread of airborne illness and why it is important. But listen, if no one ever wants to wear a mask during the next worldwide pandemic, that's fine. Just go live in the woods. Like, do you not understand? Like, there's an agreement, like when you're part of a public society, right? To keep each other safe and healthy. And MAGA, if you don't ever want to be, I love when MAGA's like, you guys say you want women want control of their bodies, but you made me get a vaccination. No one made you get a vaccination. My sister is a crazed anti-vaxxer. If you don't want to get a vaccination, you don't have to. Now, you might not be able to work in an office with 500 people in close quarters because your own idiocy might make those people susceptible to illness, which could then get the company sued. Your brain just has to work. You don't have to get a vaccination, but a job is not a human right? You can go live in the woods amongst the animals and build up your natural immunity. You go be, I went to university in Idaho, go be one of those militia people in the woods, like prepare, like with the potato guns. I was just watching Stuart Rhodes, the Oath Keepers guy that got pardoned by Trump. He's out of his mind. I was watching him doing far right wing interviews, basically be like, we need to build up our militias again and stay ready for when Trump needs us. Like, they're back at it. But yeah, you guys don't ever have to be vaccinated. Don't promote the general welfare, right? Just get out. Just don't try to live near other people. Just go off into the woods and be a weirdo. It's fine. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me show you Eli Crane, who's from Arizona, by the way. Eli Crane is the worst. This is the example of when you take a swing state like Arizona, where they call it the greater Phoenix area, which is primarily Maricopa County. And that's where there's like 7 million people concentrated into the same area in Arizona. And then there's all these like weird little fringe areas. And that's how these gerrymandered seats. That's why Eli Crane's, we can never get rid. Arizona has we're tied with, is it Texas? I think it might be Texas for the most Freedom Caucus members. And Eli Crane is the bastard. Can I say bastard? That's fine, right? Stepchild of if Paul Gosar and Andy Biggs had a baby. That's who this guy is. Andy Biggs, by the way, which I talked about on Monday, is now running for governor of Arizona. I know not all of you live in Arizona, but I'm telling you, if we want to win the next presidential race, we need to do everything we can in our power to stop Andy Biggs from becoming governor of Arizona. We cannot let a psycho take over Arizona elections. Right now, yes, the wacko MAGAs do have control of the state legislature here and of actually a lot of the Maricopa County Commission and things, but we have a Secretary of State that's a Democrat. Adrian Fontes is a genius. I mean, we have like our elections. Our county recorder is a Democrat, I believe. Our attorney general, our governor, and our 2 senators. And that's the only thing keeping our elections safe in Arizona. So I highly recommend we all spend our energy making sure creepy Freedom Caucus member and possibly this guy's illegitimate stepfathers from becoming governor. Listen to him. This is Eli Crane this morning talking to Benny Johnson, who gets White House press credentials. Like, hilarious.
So timely. And, I think it is important for us to pray, for peace and the unification of these 2 guys, because as Bill Ackman said, and you've said yourself, the country's in a lot better spot when those 2 are united. And I'm not sure, how that reconciliation comes about, but I think you're on point with a good start.
Everyone, let's pray that the richest man in the world, who's a giant lying grifter, and our authoritarian or wannabe authoritarian lying grifting president get back together so they can use all their resources and mutually lie and gaslight us together. Does that sound like a great idea? What is wrong with conservatives? Truly. I mean, I get it. Like, if you're part of like the Trump, I'm trying to remember. Like, it's a cottage industry, right? MAGA. I kind of get it. You guys are making a lot of money off supporting a bunch of lies. So in a way, I get it. But the average MAGA person is only being robbed by Trump and Elon Musk. There's no benefit to them. But these people, it is fascinating. Oh yeah, this is the clip. Like I said, Trump did phone interviews with like Dana Bash, Brett Baer. Who am I missing? Oh, and Peter Ducey. This is just a clip. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And I could feel my ADHD medicine kicking in because I feel less distracted. Like the first time someone gave me a gift like that, I was like, maybe I should just watch a cartoon. That's what I was thinking for a second. Heather, and also thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I love your show. Thank you for your brain. I always quote you now and say MAGA can't read or do math. I know, spread the word. We should shame them into starting. That's my theory. I've read a lot of psychology papers and I was raised by malignant narcissists. Sometimes these are people raised by authoritarians. Think about it, people who would be in a cult of an authoritarian, they only respond to negative reinforcement. And why do I know that? Because I'm the same. I got a Division I scholarship for volleyball. And when we all were freshmen, like the fall sport athletes, which was like soccer, football, volleyball, whatever, we all had to take this like psychological assessment. And I was 17 when I took it. And they were like, there's only one person here out of like 100 freshman fall sport athletes who is motivated by negative reinforcement. And that was me. Because when you're raised by an authoritarian, especially a malignant narcissist, like my psychological profile said, like, I'm motivated by people abusing me. And that's how MAGA is. That's why they respond to Trump's cruelty. They don't even recognize why. It's because they were raised in abusive, authoritarian households, and they look at Trump and they're like, Dad? Is that you? Like, oh, are you here to abuse me just like my dad? It's pathetic. But yeah, that's why I do it, because I recognize, like, it took me a lot of therapy to become motivated. I was talking about it, like, to be motivated by things other than fear and fear of failure and just general negative reinforcement of someone being like, you're an effing loser who can't do it, you know? And so, so they call Trump daddy. That's what it is. It's psychological. It's Freudian. They were raised in authoritarian households where there was a lot of negative reinforcement and abuse, and they respond to that. Narcissism is a disease in American capitalism. I like Fax and I did a live about that. I was talking about the Nuremberg trials and like how Hitler and the Schmazis were basically labeled, malignant narcissists. The dark triad, right? Sadists. Like, I mean, it's crazy to talk about, but yeah, that's what's happening with capitalism. The narcissistic values are. Thank you for the cat. I love it. Thank you. A space cat? Jen, that's so cool. Thank you so much. I need to update my gift goals. Anyways, before I get distracted, I'm going to play this and I'll update the gift goals. Thank you so much. That was cool, Jen. This is just a little clip because a lot of it is just incoherent. But Brett Baer's phone interview this morning with Trump, which basically is Trump's like, we're never getting back together, which poor MAGA, this must be a rough go for them. But don't worry, they have all Pam Bondi's lies about Kilmer Abrego Garcia to carry them through.
We bring you some breaking news, this time from Brett Baer, who just spoke to President Trump on the phone. He reflected on Elon Musk, and here's what Brett learned in that phone call. Trump is not interested in talking to Elon. Trump is not worried about threats of a third party. Now, that comes because Elon Musk tweeted this. He put up a poll and he said, it is time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle. He asked that as a question of his followers. So he asked about a potential third party. President Trump says he's not worried to Brett Baer. President Trump also pointed to his favorable polls and his strong support among Capitol Hill Republicans. Noteworthy, Elon Musk called for constituents to call congressmen and women. Whether those calls have materialized, I've seen reports that they have not. Would also note, underscoring President Trump's point, he's ahead in the Real Clear Politics average of Obama and Bush at this point in the second term. And finally, a direct quote from Brett Baer from President Trump. The quote from President Trump is this: Elon has totally lost it. So
watching a literal insane lying grifter try to project their insanity onto others. Do you see what I'm saying? Just know, and this is just observational. And I want to say this: when I say I was raised by a malignant narcissist, I love my mother. It's just, that's what she is. And I think I always talk about this because I watch, if you don't know, on TikTok, there's this whole genre of TikTok, or this whole section where people who dated narcissists, or let's just put it this way, I don't think there's very few people in this world who actually have narcissistic personality disorder, because there's a big difference between having narcissistic traits and being an asshole and actually lacking effective empathy, right? So, and I think the unique perspective of a child of a narcissist, because especially a mother, because that's my primary attachment. I love her, but I've watched her operate through life and I understand how she works. And narcissist, he's like, oh, Elon's lost it. Yeah, that's you talking about yourself and pointing at someone else. That's what narcissists do. They just point at someone else. They're like, let me just confess what I'm guilty of while trying to project it onto someone else. And hopefully no one will notice. And they don't even notice they're doing that. Trump, you cannot call anyone else crazy. I mean, you are part and parcel. Oh, I had to clip this, by the way. The quintessential always the bridesmaid, why doesn't anyone ever pick me for anything? Tim Scott is on Fox News. Tim Scott is the junior senator from South Carolina. He's black, who got married in a sham marriage because he thought he possibly might be chosen as Trump's vice president. And now he's back. It's like, Tim, this is an example of being a glutton for punishment. You're never going to be picked, and you're still doing this.
Will produce better leadership. President Trump, continue to do what you have been doing. You've been a strong, powerful voice, consistently speaking on behalf of the most economically challenged people in the country. It's that coalition.
Can you imagine? I don't know who's worse, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, Clarence Thomas. I mean, Clarence Thomas, truly. But like, I mean, this is what I was talking about with that Lawrence. What did we say his name was? Lawrence Jones, the guy, the black guy on Fox and Friends. Can you? Yeah, the pick me energy. But just Tim, you've never been picked. You've never once been picked. You're always like, hey, we need to pretend a couple of black guys might be picked for Trump's cabinet. Bring in Byron Donalds and Tim Scott real quick. Do they ever get picked? No. Never. What is the only position Trump ever lets a black person have in a cabinet? Oh, yeah. In charge of low income housing, in charge of the HUD. Like, I mean, what the? Did you hear what he said? Like, Tim Scott, how do you look in the mirror? What happened to your wife that you had to literally probably find on some dating app and propose to her in a sham proposal? Like, where's she at? Haven't seen that woman for like 6 months. Is she like, does anyone wonder what happened to the woman he married because he thought he might get picked as vice president? Has anyone seen her? I haven't.
Will produce better leadership. President.
Anyone's wondering, she was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman. just in case.
Trump, continue to do what you have been doing. You've been a strong, powerful voice, consistently speaking on behalf of the most economically challenged people in the country. It's that coalition that has made us a very strong party. Elon Musk, you brought cuts to the table. Let's get back to work, focus on the American people, and we'll get the job done.
Okay, so they break up or are they still married? I think they like legally got married. I mean, because I was like, okay, he did the like what I thought like someone was correct. I don't really think he met her off a dating app. I absolutely think it's like a Tom Cruise like merit. They went and found someone for him to marry, and they did this like very staged like PR promposal type thing on the beach. And I was like, okay, maybe that's as far as he's gonna take it, because like, I mean, let me just put it this way. There's 2 senators from South Carolina, the same rumors that you hear about Lindsey Graham in D.C. on Capitol Hill, like in the staffers' blogs, and about what Lindsey Graham may or may not be up to in his spare time. Those same rumors exist around Tim Scott. So I didn't know how far he would take, marrying a beard or whatever the F is going on. But I think he actually, I don't know, like maybe they didn't turn in the marriage certificate. I'd be interested to know if Tim Scott is legally married, because I was like, whoa, I never thought he would actually get married. Like, you must not really have believed Trump was going to pick you for VP. Like, can't be that clueless, can you? I mean, never underestimate these people though. Like, Byron Donald seemed genuinely angry when he did not get like a cabinet position. Like, he's like, what? I've been in Congress for 2 years and I've pathologically lied for Trump, and I can't believe I'm being passed over by a known racist. Like, it's so strange that Trump doesn't value me in any way. Like, oh yeah. Also, Byron Donalds is married. I talk about this all the time. Look into Byron Donalds' wife. She's like one of the founders of the Moms of Liberty. And she's like involved in like, like a whole like home school charters, like privatized education, like school voucher type scam in Florida. Like, it's... Which reminds me of something. But first I need to show you something Eric Swalwell's up to, just for a moment of comedic relief, because we're talking about a lot of depressing stuff. Look what Eric Swalwell is doing. So there's this like, in Capitol Hill, like there's this like tram thing that runs, because Capitol Hill has all these like underground tunnels and things, and it's a long walk. So, and God knows these people are old. We've got people that just go ahead and unalive inside Congress, so they can't all walk. So look at Eric Wallace starting this new series, which is called Train Takes. It's hilarious. I love this. I hope he really sticks with this because I feel like this could go somewhere.
Train Takes. Hey, Dan. Welcome to Train Takes.
Thank you, Eric.
Just wondering, what's your take on reading bills?
Well, my take on reading bills is it's generally a good idea.
Yeah.
Since that's our job. Marjorie Taylor Greene said she didn't read the reconciliation bill and now regrets voting for it. Yeah, the problem with that is that's your job. You're supposed to actually know what you're voting on. And not only that, but what she was bitching about is widely publicized. So this is Fire's divorce and her basically trying to claw back what she did.
Yeah, so just a reminder, do the reading. Your job is to read the bill. Read the bill. Train Takes with Dan Goldberg.
I think that could go somewhere. I think that's a good. But imagine though, that's your only job is to read the bill, and now we've got all these Republicans in the House being like, "Oh, I can't read." Yeah, well, my advice to people is to, send somebody to Congress that knows how to read. That eliminates most of MAGA from being reelected. These people cannot read, and then they go and hire staff that are dumber than they are. It'd be different if it's like, okay, I can't read, so I should hire some really intelligent people around me to pick up the slack. That's not what's going on. It's a GD disgrace what's going on in Congress. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, look, I forgot I put this up. I made it to 200,000 followers. See, now you can see, because now it's real. TikTok Studios, because TikTok Studios shows that's the exact follower count. So I actually made it to 200,000 followers, which I don't know why, but my follower account fluctuates wildly. So maybe tomorrow I won't be, because I made it 4 different times. And then the next day it was like, you don't have 200,000 followers. But I just wanted to show you guys. That's how I know how many followers I have. TikTok Studio tells you down to the single digit how many followers you have. And today is the first day it actually said I had 200,000. So I believe it's real. Thank you so much for subscribing. Oh, and I'm going to switch back to gifts so I can keep track. Still miss those likes. Wait, what just happened? Who subscribed? Thank you, D, for subscribing. I appreciate you so, so much. Okay, now I remember. I have so many good things to show you guys. I gotta focus. It's getting easier to focus. I didn't get much sleep last night. I was doing a lot of reading. I'm so disturbed by what's going on in America. I'm trying to decide the order I want to show you this in. Okay, let me just show you one Elon Musk sycophant. And I was like, who the F is this? Has anyone ever heard of someone named either Regan or Reagan Reese? She's allegedly a conservative reporter, and I guess I looked at her bio. It says she works for something called the Daily Caller. Yeah, she's not a real journalist. You're about to hear someone get on their knees and blow Space Karen and pretend they're a journalist. I was like, what? CNN not CNN. That would make sense. C-SPAN. That's where I in my algorithm on X, because I was trying to find anyone this morning who was commenting on what was going on with Elon and Trump, and C-SPAN posted this, and I'm like, why C-SPAN? How far are we from? What? Listen to this. This is what journalism is dead. Is the theme of this. Journalism is dead. And this is how funny it is that people call leftists activists. At least we're not effing fluffers for billionaires who are robbing us all. This is journalism on the right. Oh, and I forgot what my point is about this. I just want to point out the richest man in the world, he disagreed with Trump one time, and what happened? Look what happened. That's how you know you're in a cult, MAGA. If the richest man in the world can't just tell the truth about some basic mathematics, about the big, beautiful bill and how it's going to put our children's children in debt, That's how you know you're in a cult, right? You're only not in a cult, MAGA, if you're allowed to disagree with Donald Trump and you're not ostracized. Like, all I noticed, like, in order to be a conservative journalist, that means you're on your knees basically lying for Trump. I'm sorry. I don't even know what you're about to hear, but it's like, she very clearly, I actually am like, is she pregnant with Elon Musk's child? Like, if it turns out she's pregnant with Elon Musk, I was like, is this Stephen Miller's wife? Like, I'm so confused about how this is journalism. It says, the Chiron says, conservative reporter discusses covering the Trump White House. That's not what this sounds like to me.
So I would love to know your opinion and what you found out last night about what is going on between Elon and Trump, and what is this show that we're seeing on Twitter.
Yeah, of course. So first I'll say I had the opportunity to sit with Elon Musk about a month ago.
That you did.
It was a private briefing. It was a bunch of mainstream media reporters, ABC News, CBS, NBC, New York Times, Washington Post, and Reagan. And that was awesome. And I sat right next to him, and we got to talk to him for an hour about his time in the Department of Government Efficiency. And he came in laughing. He was trying to tell us jokes, and he wanted us to tell him a joke in order.
This is not journalism, Reagan.
To ask a question. And the White House did not let us bring our phones in, or did not want us to have any service. And I was like, my mind is blank. My editors are going to kill me. I don't have a question. I don't have a joke. And then quickly USA Today was like, no, let's speed this up. We're not doing that. All that.
When USA Today is the voice of reason in a room, like, those are the real journalists, give up.
To say, when we got talking to him, I noticed that he was just almost down in the dumps. I could tell he was frustrated and upset that he hadn't been praised as this champion, that his businesses were taking a hit, that his Teslas were being lit on fire. And so that made yesterday not as surprising to me, because what I heard when I spoke to my sources was that this isn't really a.
Can the richest man in the world be down in the dumps? Like, he must have been withdrawing from K. Like, what the are you talking about, lady? You know who's down in the dumps? Probably people who make $29,000 a year and are losing their Medicaid. Those people are probably down in the dumps. Like, I'm imagining. Like, look how pleased she is to be saying this. I can't. This is journalism. Give up, America. Give up.
About the big, beautiful bill. Elon Musk is going to tell you that he's upset about the big, beautiful bill. President Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson are going to tell you he's upset he didn't get the EV mandate as a part of the big, beautiful bill. But what my sources are telling me is that this has been months and months of frustration that's been building up, that Elon Musk is upset about the damage that has been done to his business. But he also wanted control over the White House and things that were happening in the administration. And he started to clash with cabinet officials. Marco Rubio wouldn't let him go into the State Department. He kind of got handcuffed a little bit at the Pentagon. Those are two things that annoyed him. He wasn't able to do his job. But the red line.
You mean letting a billionaire who's getting $8 million a day in government welfare off primarily like military contracts shouldn't be breaking into the Pentagon and stealing all their data? Can you hear yourself? I wonder if she's listened to this back and was like, oh, that sounds good. Like, what journalism school have you gone to?
For Elon Musk was when he didn't get his NASA pick. He really wanted a certain pick for NASA. They told him that wasn't going to happen. He'd already really wanted an IRS pick. He already really wanted a CIA pick. Didn't get those. So when he didn't get the
richest man in the world couldn't put decide who was in charge. An unelected billionaire couldn't decide who was in charge of the Central Intelligence Agency or of NASA or of the IRS. He wanted to choose who would not audit him. Like, the is going on. Like, does she know as a journalist, you don't just listen to someone speak and then be like, that's gospel, Bible, couldn't possibly, I shouldn't do any of my own research. Just repeat what that person told me verbatim.
NASA pick became really frustrating. And so what I think you're seeing now is just months and months of frustration building up and spilling out. And I think Elon Musk is a very smart, unique, successful man. It's almost really hard to comprehend how smart and successful he is. And so, of course, someone like that has unlocked something completely different. You know, he's incredible what he's achieved. And so I almost don't think that we're going to be able to understand him in full, because if we were, we would probably all be billionaires and have really successful businesses. So that, in short, is what we're seeing. I do think that there's hope for peace, and I do think if we...
That's it. Do you see what I'm saying here? Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys are so outraged. Like, I was recording this and I was like, I'm physically sickened. And like, she's like, I'm a journalist. You are not a journalist. You, whatever this is, whatever's going on with you, it's not journalism. I'm surprised you could say this, being so busy, being on your knees for billionaires. What the are you talking about? Like, can you imagine? Oh, he's so brilliant. No, listen, if any of us had a billionaire dad who made their money allegedly in, horrific mines in Africa full of horrific abuses and other, terrible capitalistic industries, and then you inherited hundreds of billions of dollars with which to find other actual engineers who have developed and patented real technology, and then you just take your dad's money and then you buy that technology. I mean, we're not curing cancer here, lady. What is going on? Like, are people, is this how dumb people are? Is it me? Like, what's happening? This is conservative journalism. Conservative reporter discusses covering the Trump White House. Like, I mean, there's no hope.
Know anything about Donald Trump? It's that he does forgive people, and
no, he doesn't. What? Like, and then she's like, hold on. I've done a lot of fluffing of Elon Musk. Let me just fluff Trump real quick. Give me, I'm going to use the last minute to just tell a series of lies about Donald Trump.
I do think if we know anything about Donald Trump, it's that he does forgive people, and he comes around eventually with people. And so I don't think that this is going to be a 3-year battle between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I think we'll see peace. I hope we see.
This is why no one believes women. This is why. It's because of things like this. What the was that? He forgives people, or people who have hundreds of millions to billions of dollars bribe him, and then they move past it. I will say some of the funniest things. Wait, I have so many funny things to show you guys watching conservatives like respond yesterday to what happened. Because I will say one of the talking points of conservative, I won't call them, they're not journalists, like whatever you want to call the people, entertainment, news people, the ones that work for Vox. Jesse Waters' line of logic was like, well, JD Vance called him Shitler, and they got past that. Yeah, because a billionaire named Peter Thiel, who JD Vance is his blood boy, bribed Trump to choose him as vice president. Yes, if you go to a transactional malignant narcissist and say, here is a bribe, yes, they do respond to bribes. Absolutely. You can. That is why Trump is compromised so easily by other countries. If you read intelligence reports about Trump, that's what they say. Oh, he's nuts, but he's easily controlled. Like, do you want someone? That's the thing about Joe Biden. Why wouldn't, if Joe Biden, and now MAGA, here's a chance, here's a learning opportunity. We're all going to just breathe and think for a second. If Joe Biden was so senile and so incompetent and had no idea what he was doing and was so dumb and so, so sick, and possibly it's Obama wearing some man's skin, why would Putin spend hundreds of millions of dollars getting Trump elected? Why would he do that? If Biden was such a pushover, such an idiot, had no idea what was going on, was just being controlled by his staffers, why would Putin, who has interfered in all of our elections since the first Bush that we know of, why would he not be like, perfect? This guy has no idea what's going on. I can easily manipulate him. I can get my way. I'll reelect him. Use your brains, MAGA. You got to really make it make sense. If Trump is a mark, Trump thinks he's an authoritarian that can hang with Xi and Putin, they laugh in his face. He's what they call a useful idiot. It is an insult if Russia wants you to be president of the United States. That means you're a mark who is a useful idiot that they can control. That's what Donald Trump is. But none of you guys can figure that out. You're like, Putin's a good guy. That's your takeaway. He's not. He's actually smart. He's smart. He chose the limpy gazelle he could control, who was controlling an even dumber cross-section of people that have been inundated with Russian disinformation that they believe were ideas they came up with. And he said, I'm going to back this horse. This is a horse I can ride till the wheels fall off. You guys are useful idiots to Russia and any other person that manipulates Trump with money or any other way. Imagine that. You guys are trying to say Biden had no idea what was going on. Then Putin would have spent all his energy to get him elected, but that's not what was going on. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. Now I remember. I want to show you. Oh, sorry. This is the presentation. I want to show you what Laura Ingraham was doing last night. Watching Laura Ingraham, remember, Laura Ingraham is a Fox Entertainment person who, look up her dad. Her dad's basically a neo-schmatzi. But think, Laura Ingraham was someone who, in that Dominion lawsuit, when Discovery was coming out, that they were using to try to push Fox News into a settlement. I mean, if Fox didn't want to go to trial and all those texts were coming out, and Laura Ingram's like, Trump's an effing idiot. And all she does publicly now is SSD. Were you lying then or were you lying now, Laura? You guys are all... God, it's just these people. MAGA's just knee deep with pathological liars. Okay, I want to show you what some of her statements she made yesterday. She also then had Charlie Kirk on, who's also a pathological liar. Oh my God, it was just a shitstorm of lying. Don't worry, they're not huge clips. It's not going to be painful. I can't stand Fox News. It's just little pieces of it.
But as for the DOGE cuts not being made permanent, yeah, that's also not Trump's fault. But obviously, I get why Musk is mad about that. I would be too. But again, Elon should see that Trump is not the problem here. What Republican could have done more with this tiny majority than Donald Trump? I ask you. Now, I'm convinced that until we have multiple bond auctions that just fail, we're simply not going to have the votes needed to push through large-scale spending cuts. Just not going to happen. There's no Republican will. There's no bipartisan will.
Can you imagine that's your line of logic? And by the way, we shouldn't wait until nobody will buy up our debt before we do something that makes sense, which again, it's not robbing the poor, Laura Ingraham. It's you paying taxes. Period. It's rich people and corporations paying taxes. It's not make middle and lower class Americans pay state taxes, federal taxes, and then tax them on tariffs every time they go to the cash register. Regressive taxes, so billionaires and corporations can continue lying that something's going to trickle down. 45 years of data saying nothing trickles down. MAGA's confused about it, but people who can read and do math, we are not confused. We do not believe that tax relief for corporations and the rich somehow equals economic growth of the middle class. It's a lie. We have the data to prove it. MAGA, I suggest you learn to read. That might help.
Now, stop to think how happy the media and the Democrats are today. They always wanted to break this alliance. I said this last week. And today they got their wish.
I can't. There are no words. What?
Trump's always been a populist. Sometimes he was a Democrat, sometimes but he's always been a populist. He's a real estate guy who does deals.
I guess I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah, Trump is a guy who will say any lie to the general population. And yes, he was a guy who inherited hundreds of millions of dollars and didn't pay taxes on it, and then did some real estate deals, bad ones. You're just missing the adjective bad real estate deals that ended up in bankruptcy. Yeah, sure. And more tax evasion. Look up, I could tax law uses Trump's basis shifting and the failed Chicago Trump Tower as a legal tax law case in universities. MAGA doesn't understand that. Trump owes hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes.
More isn't being cut? Yeah, of course not. But train your frustration not on the guy who's fought everyone to get where he is, but on the people who are blocking Donald Trump.
Hey, we're all being robbed and lied to by a grifter named Donald Trump. Let's not blame Donald Trump for pathologically lying and stealing from everyone. Let's not do that, for committing tons of financial fraud. Let's not blame him. Let's blame anyone who points out that there is a forensic accounting trail of fraud behind him. That makes sense. Only on Fox Entertainment could that be the line of logic. April, thank you for subscribing on TikTok. And Lisa, thank you for becoming a rad resistor on YouTube. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, here's another good one. Laura Ingraham was on fire last night with lies.
And as for the president, he should simply disengage. Musk is his own person. The government contracts that he has stand on their own merit. They shouldn't be called into question. Threatening to pull them, that's not wise. When 5 minutes ago you were, of course, hailing Musk's work and helping rescue the stranded Americans in space. Elon Musk.
Again, I've had to debunk this 40 times now. There were no people stranded in space. Do understand that? The astronauts on the space station have confirmed that. I can't with the lies. A billionaire, right? We, the public, are giving $8 million a day, and we are privatizing essentially a huge part of our space program. and we're trusting this guy. And yesterday, when he threw a tantrum, he's the richest man in the world and isn't getting to steal enough of American taxpayer dollars. He's not getting what he wanted. The other grifter he was in cahoots with isn't splitting enough of the spoils with him. And he threatened to abandon astronauts in space. And the best Fox News can do is don't look into billionaires' government contracts. Yeah, I would be saying that too if I was a billionaire who owned this network. Pay no attention to the billionaire government contracts. Let's not call those into question. You guys might look into it and see we're all stealing from you.
Is like the Thomas Edison of our time. He sacrificed for America personally and professionally. And he wanted to make the Trump presidency happen, and it did.
Actually, that's true. Elon Musk is the Thomas Edison of our time. Like, she's just too dumb to know anything about Thomas Edison. Does anyone? I mean, I have a history degree, so I know that Thomas Edison was a lying, grifting thug who stole technology. And then when he realized that his direct current was absolute BS, instead of saying, hey, I'm a scientist who cares about the advancement of the human race, alternating current is better, he started threatening and unaliving anyone that tried to challenge him with alternating current. That is why Nikola Tesla couldn't come to America, because Thomas Edison was threatening to unalive him. Yeah, you just have Thomas Edison was a horrible, horrible person. Surprise! So yes, I do agree that Elon Musk is the Thomas Edison of our time. Yeah, it's just you would have to be able to read to understand. It's the same way MAGA thinks that Thanksgiving is about pilgrims and indigenous people having a feast together. But if you actually have a degree in history, then you know the pilgrims were in a famine during winter and were actually eating the indigenous people. But just don't tell MAGA the truth about history. Thomas Edison was a horrible person who did horrible things. But yes, I do agree. That's spot on. Elon Musk is the Thomas Edison of our time. That's correct. She got one thing right this whole time.
So if Elon now joins hands with the Never Trumpers after all that, look, there's nothing anyone can do about it. It makes me sad. It makes a lot of people sad. But I bet he's smart enough to soon discover what a sour and unappealing lot the Never Trumpers are.
Again, a sour and unappealing lot. I guess those are people who can read. Primary sources who've read legal documents and understand that Trump's a lying grifter who's committed unspeakable amounts of fraud that to this day remain unprosecuted. Is that what you're talking about? And don't get me wrong, I'm no extreme fan of the moderates. I don't care if you're a moderate Democrat or you're a moderate Republican. That group of people in the middle of the country that accepts money from lobbyists and are busy insider trading, yeah, you're not my friend either. But I love how she implies anybody that recognizes that Trump's a grifter is miserable. Yeah, we are all miserable watching you all be in a cult. Especially, I think it's harder to watch her in a cult because she's not in cognitive dissonance. She's a grifter who has stock in Fox News Corp and is, profiting exponentially off of Trump's lies. So yeah, it is hard to watch. It does make me a little bitter.
It's a tough thing to watch, this public feud. I actually think they're going to reconcile at some point, though, because deep down, I would like to believe they both want the same thing.
I think they do. To steal from middle and lower class Americans until there's nothing left. We have no social or financial capital, and we are all just relegated to a slave feudal class. Yes, I do think they want the same thing. But I mean, if you ever thought, like, this is what I'm saying. This is how I know MAGA's brains don't work. They think Charlie Kirk can debate. Charlie Kirk's not in reality. Charlie Kirk's either a pathological liar or an idiot. You tell me which one. I thought a Cambridge professor dog walked Charlie Kirk, and then it was explained to me that that's not a professor. That was just somebody that like is just a random employee. Like, Charlie Kirk is not very smart, and we should stop acting or pretending he is. But I guess if I was like deep in the capitalistic rat race and my upward mobility was tied to Trump being able to continue to defraud, lie, and punish people who've done nothing wrong, then I guess maybe this would be what I was doing yesterday.
Donald Trump built this movement for 10 years. His supporters are not going anywhere. I hope that Elon and Trump reconcile. It'd be good for the country, and to do so privately.
Well, I talked to an insider today who said it's irreparable. That was the line. It is irreparable. But look, Donald Trump will sit down with anybody. So it's probably.
Charlie, you're going to have to pick who to blow. It doesn't sound like it can be both. You're going to have to choose who to give a Andrew Jackson to. What are you going to do? It can't be but one in each hand anymore. Sorry, I just can't listen to this.
Not irreparable on Trump's side, but Elon Musk, I mean, again, you run your own kingdom at your companies. You're still a public company. You can't totally do everything, but you're in charge. But look, Donald Trump's in charge, and Congress is Congress. So you gotta kind of you have to deal with the reality of what you have in front of you. Trump's a realist. He's and I love Rand Paul. Everyone loves Rand Paul, but Rand Paul ran for president. I don't know how many times, but if they want to try to run Rand Paul again, I mean, God bless them. I don't think that's going to work. But I want to get to the.
Yeah, if there seems to be a common theme in America, it's that the middle of America loves a pathological liar because the truth is much less attractive, right? I mean, if there's one thing I've learned about America, no one wants to hear, oh yeah, things aren't going to be perfect. It's going to be hard. Like, here's the actual math. No one wants to hear those things. Just listen to Trump promise the moon and the sun to everyone, even though it's all mathematically impossible. Like, Yeah, Rand Paul is probably unpopular because he says a lot of things that are actually true. I don't even like Rand Paul. I think he says a lot of things that bother me. But yeah, the truth is not always pretty. Whereas if you're just a populist and a pathological liar, Trump just promises everything to everyone. None of the math makes sense. And MAGA then just says, the Democrats ruined the economy. It's like that's the genius. Oh my God, yeah, this is a good one too.
But do you believe, Charlie Kirk, that 80% of America wants to start a new party with Elon Musk and not be part of the Trump coalition?
No, are you going to have Karine Jean-Pierre go be the spokesperson? I mean, come on.
At least her brain works. First of all, don't ever talk about Karine Jean-Pierre. Like, don't ever speak her name again. Like, imagine calling up someone whose brain actually works and trying to shame them.
Let's be honest about the stakes.
Come on.
I mean, she said she's an independent now, allegedly, so maybe she can go be the spokesperson for this. Look, here's the thing. Elon knows this because Elon articulated it very well. This is a fight for Western civilization of existential importance. It is a question of identity, of whether we're going to be a country and not a colony. Are we going to have sovereignty, or are we going to have open borders? Are we going to have a shared history, or are we just going to be a multicultural, confused mess in the future? Are we going to have a robust economy with a...
Did you hear what he just said? That was the most racist shit I've ever heard. Are we gonna what? Listen to that.
Mess in the future. Are we going to have a
I didn't
shared history, or are we just going to be a multicultural, confused mess in the future?
Are we going to have a shared history? He's saying, are we going to be homogenized whites only, or are we going to be a multicultural mess? Yeah, America was built as a multicultural melting pot mess, Charlie Kirk. Maybe you should leave. Like, I mean, these are the dog whistles coming out of these people are unbelievable. You just have to catch them. Like, and he's dead ass serious too.
Going to have a robust economy with a middle class or not? The solution is
not if we follow this plan. Like, imagine, I mean, the nerve of Charlie Kirk to be a pathological liar who's like, hey, I go from college campuses and I talk to 18-year-olds who have no idea what's going on, and then I think I can debate. But whenever I talk to someone who actually knows what's going on, I'm dog walked. Like, can you imagine? I mean, this guy is just a bigot. Like, I don't know what else to say. And also a liar. Like, you could, let's just put it this way. You could be a racist and still do math. But it just, I mean, he's a classist. He's a racist. He's a bigot. I don't know. Like, it just, there's no lie Charlie Kirk won't tell to support billionaires robbing us and Donald Trump's pathology.
Not some sort of Ross Perot attempt where it divides the coalition. The solution instead is building a robust, working class, bottom up. Exactly. It's not more schisms and more division. It is unity. And President Trump demonstrated that in his triumph this last November. So I don't take much stock in that poll. I instead think the American people and the people of the West are uniting in massive numbers to repudiate leftism, socialism, Marxism, and open borders.
The only problem with everything you said is the math's not mathing on any of that. The only success we ever had in this country was when we weren't bigots, when we accepted immigrants, when we gave women bodily autonomy, when we empowered people to work, right? Like, I mean, it's just everything you're saying. I mean, outside of the abject bigotry and the lies, like, you're not describing the bill that Trump's trying to force through. That's the end of the middle class. That's socially engineering poor people out of existence, saying you won't be able to go to the doctor until you're no longer with us. And I hate to break this to you, but I was born in a border state. It doesn't, let me help you why there are states that use state funds. There are no undocumented immigrants on Medicaid. Definitely not on Medicare, but you have to pay into that and you have to be a citizen to ever collect it. But there are no undocumented immigrants on federal Medicaid. There are 11 states that have state-funded programs to provide some form of insurance, state-funded insurance to undocumented immigrants. And to oppose that's MAGA. You need to raise your hand and say, I don't understand the insurance industry and I don't understand math. Let me help you. If I was running a state, what's better? To take some state funds and provide some sort of medical insurance, or to wait till every undocumented person who's working in the fields in a border state shows up to the emergency room for a $500 Tylenol? Either way, taxpayers are paying it in my state. What's more cost effective, preventative healthcare or emergent? We know the most expensive healthcare is when people show up to the emergency room in America. Either way, we pay for it. It's the same concept with American citizens, and you guys being like, I don't want my tax dollars going to Medicaid. Okay, cool. Then they're going to go when American citizens have no insurance and show up in the emergency room and it's a 10x, 100x more expensive, then they'll go to that. You guys are geniuses. That's why universal health care is used in every modern country in the world but here, because preventative, comprehensive health care for all is cheaper. Either way, MAGA, you're still paying for it. Just your little brains don't understand that. Do you get that? That because of, the whole HIPAA do no harm type thing, the Hippocratic Oath, we can't just let people die. And we pay for that anyways. And it's cheaper if they have some form of insurance. But then your brain would have to work to know that. And that's why, here's another example why undocumented immigrants, started getting licenses in places. I mean, they're not citizens, but they could get licenses. Why do you think in border states we'd want to know who undocumented immigrants are? Because there's unbelievable amounts of car accidents. And by giving people licenses and encouraging them to at least have insurance, we save a lot of money. Because otherwise, if there's an accident and there's an undocumented immigrant who's uninsured, who pays for all that? The American citizen who has insurance. And we realized we could save American citizens a lot more money if people had licenses and had insurance who were undocumented. That's what insurance is. It's to make things cheaper that otherwise you pay for an exorbitant amount for out of pocket. I hate the insurance industry. I think it's a scam, but yeah, that's why. That's why. It's just you guys can't think. And every governor of every state, it's their job to think, I got to protect people. What's the best way to do that? How can I save people in this state the most money? And if you're in a border state, it's cheaper to provide some sort of health care rather than making taxpayers pay for emergent health care. It's that simple. We're not curing cancer here. Oh, Trump canceled that. We're not looking into cancer anymore, even though we get a $2.53 return on investment for every dollar we spend on medical research. That's canceled. Don't worry about it. That's fine. What could ever go wrong? Everything's making so much sense. Oh, and then Jim Jordan joined the show and it got real weird.
Is it true that it's the libertarians? They pushed for getting rid of the EV tax credits, correct? I mean, those could have been phased out slowly, I guess, but
Right. What are you they're blaming the libertarians for trying to repeal EV tax credits? What? There are no libertarians in Congress. Rand Paul pretends to be a libertarian, and so does Senator Mike Lee from Utah. Those are not real libertarians are they have almost the same ideology as communists. They don't recognize governments. They certainly don't recognize borders. You want to talk about open borders? Meet a libertarian. They don't recognize any country's governments or borders. I don't know. And they're trying to blame it on libertarians. Make it make sense. Here, and I said this yesterday. I've been so critical of Space Karen. It's unfortunate that he had the foresight to use Daddy's money to invest in clean energy. We still have to switch over to clean, affordable energy. Just because Trump's being bribed by oil and liquid natural gas companies and whatever he keeps referring to as clean coal doesn't mean we can be dragged back to the 1800s when coal was a good idea. We have to move towards clean, efficient energy or we'll all die. I don't know how else to say it. So I don't know why they're trying to act like EV tax credits aren't a good idea. It's Elon Musk's incredibly selfish and he's out for his own interests, but we do have to switch to electric cars and electric energy grids in general. So I don't know what the Republicans are doing.
I think Elon was really torqued at that. And, as are a lot of people who like these alternative, types of vehicles.
Yeah, that's part of it. There is a phase out for a lot of it. There are good things in this legislation. I understand the deficit situation. I understand the $37 trillion debt. We do have to begin to save more money. But in the end, when you do those four things, cut taxes, secure the border, make sure able-bodied people who are getting your money, your viewers' money, have to go to work, and give parents school choice, those are good. And the Democrats are...
Is it true that it's...
Either way, if anyone's looking to get an electric vehicle, I don't know if anyone's heard about it. I know we have one of their biggest car plant here. If you've never heard of, I'm trying to think of, I think the technical name is Lucid Motors. I keep noticing more and more. I know we have one of their huge manufacturing plants in Casa Grande, Arizona. The coolest electric vehicles in existence. Look into Lucid Motors if you've never seen those cars. I see tons of them in Arizona. So cool. The coolest. And also I read an article about their efficiency. Apparently they're pretty awesome. So just saying. Oh, I like Rivian. My brother has a Rivian truck. I'm not saying Rivian's not great. I'm just saying I'm talking about car design now. I like symmetry and asymmetry. If you've never seen Lucid Motors and their vehicles, I mean, gorgeous. They're next level. The design is if you're into cars, I shouldn't even get into this, but it's Friday, so I'll just tell you. I'm getting into Formula One racing. Actually in Formula E, which is electric cars that go fast, but I've been really doing a lot of research on Formula One, so don't ask me why. I just do a lot of things to distract my brain from the world falling apart. So I've been doing some deep dives into Formula One racing and Formula E and other types of electric vehicles. Sorry. Oh my God. We'll hear one more Jim Jordan clip. I know it's gross. One more.
And give parents school choice. Those are good. And the Democrats are... Here's the other reason you know this bill is good. Because all the left hates it. Because they don't like those four things that empower people, empower families. They want people dependent on the government, not being empowered like this legislation does.
No, that's not why. Which, by the way, I think it was Anderson Cooper, all of the data I provided, because Arizona has been doing school vouchers for decades and decades. We've had school choice, and it has ruined. We're 49th in education. Literally god awful. Nobody knows how to read or do math in this state. And they actually, let me find it, because since he decided to run his mouth about school vouchers, we already know in Arizona what happens to school vouchers. And I think it was Anderson Cooper, or somebody that works for him did an analysis specifically on school vouchers in Arizona. And I was reading people I can't believe this. I'm like, really? This has been going on for a long time. School vouchers go towards rich kids. They don't go towards poor children. They don't go to private school. It's just a tax credit for rich people to send their kids to private school. That's all it is. I think I put it in yesterday's. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Hold on.
Tonight, a new CNN investigation has found that some religious schools in Arizona, including a school that is partnered with a Trump-aligned advocacy group.
Yeah, by the way, I used to go to this mega church. It's called Dream City. I mean, not voluntarily. When I was dragged to places when I was a kid. Yeah, this is the mega church I was talking about. I've told horrific stories about things that may or may not have happened to me at a Sunday school. It's also the place where Trump always holds Trump rallies and people had to be carted off with heat stroke. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's how, this is especially annoying to me.
For being partially funded by taxpayer dollars. Some of those funds are going to unregulated private schools that don't face the same standards as public schools or have the same anti-discrimination protections. This move has in part contributed to the closure of public schools in the state. CNN's Renee Marsh has more.
Hello, Phoenix. A Phoenix megachurch, the setting for a recent Donald Trump campaign rally.
You have to have choice also in education. You're going to have choice in education.
The same megachurch has partnered with the Trump-aligned political group Turning Point USA to educate students at this private school, Dream City Christian.
Dream City Christian School, a Turning Point academy.
Its website underscores a far-right Christian viewpoint, promising to combat morally bankrupt and liberal ideology, including critical race theory, evolutionism, and gender identification. And it's partially funded by taxpayer dollars. Like many private schools in the U.S., students at Dream City can use state money to pay for private education. A CNN investigation found Dream City Christian received more taxpayer money than 95% of the private schools in the state voucher program, a total $1.3 million last year, according to data CNN obtained. That's despite anti-LGBTQ mandates in the parent handbook, stating faculty must believe and parents must agree to their children being taught that homosexual behavior is sinful and offensive to God, and rejection of one's biological sex is a rejection of the image of God.
It's a civil rights issue.
Professor Samuel Abrams studies school privatization.
This is no way for any school system to operate whereby public money.
This is what school vouchers are. This is what school vouchers are. You're wondering why it's getting to. This is what school vouchers do. They take money from actual education that provide IEPs and have actual qualified teachers who teach. Teachers don't have to be qualified that teach at these schools. They don't even have to have an education degree. They're just religious zealots. I talk about how I had to go to a private Christian school. It wasn't this one. I was forced to go to this church when I was a child. This is where I was forced to accept Jesus Christ as my savior after they acted out a play that showed people burning in hell. I was 3 years old and my mom dragged me to the front. Yeah, that's this place. But I didn't have to go to school here. I went to a different Christian school where they prayed the gay out of me, but I mean, still affiliated with this church. This church used to be called Phoenix First Assembly. It's like an Assembly of God affiliation. And now they have affiliation with Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk founded Turning Point USA in Arizona.
Is funding such discrimination? That's reprehensible.
2 years ago, Arizona was the first of nearly a dozen states to go to a universal voucher system where families can use public funds regardless of income. Red states are leading the charge, fueled by a backlash over COVID closures at public schools and a major campaign funded in part by a handful of conservative billionaires.
2 years ago, we've had school vouchers for a lot longer than that, but 2 years ago is where they made it legal in Arizona that no matter how rich you are, you can take your tax dollars out of public school and get a tax break for a religious school your kid goes to. Yeah, public funded indoctrination. And what's happened in Arizona is all of our test scores have dropped. No one's learning anything.
For more public dollars for private education.
There's been more gains made in the last few years of the school choice movement than there were in the prior 30.
The American Federation for Children, founded by former Trump Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, has led the way by opposing anti-voucher candidates. Tommy Schultz is CEO.
We've been involved in more than 2,000 state legislative races, and overall we've had a 75% successful win rate. We've utterly changed the narrative, and this issue of school choice has been a deciding factor in so many elections across the country.
This school year, vouchers cost taxpayers in Arizona hundreds of millions of dollars more than anticipated, funneling public money to unregulated private schools that don't face the same educational standards as public schools.
I would submit that school choice is the best government-funded anti-poverty program that's out there.
But although vouchers have long been pitched this way as a means to help disadvantaged students in public schools, a CNN analysis found that Arizona's program is disproportionately benefiting students in richer communities. As the state's private schools like Dream City get a windfall in tax dollars, public schools are seeing declining enrollment and shrinking budgets.
It hurts the neighborhood. People bought into this area, with the fact that we have a school, now we don't have a school.
Families and teachers said goodbye at Sunset Canyon Elementary, one of 3 schools shutting down in its district after hundreds of kids moved to vouchers. Those school officials say lack of affordable housing and lower birth rates are also to blame.
Get in the car with us. Is that okay?
Felicia White's 11-year-old daughter Riley attends another area school that's closing.
Riley has a really hard time with change. She has a lot of anxiety, along with having special needs. So for her now to start trusting other people and allowing them into her circle at 12 years old is going to be hard. Really hard.
Advocates are sounding the alarm that the future of public schools is at stake.
Our schools have been so underfunded for so long that there really wasn't any cushion in those school budgets. Even the smallest amount of movement is going to destabilize that, and our public schools simply cannot hold.
Has there been a response to your reporting from the school that received more than $1 million in taxpayer money? And is that school an outlier, or are there others?
Well, Anderson, we reached out to both Dream City Christian School and Turning Point USA. They did not respond to CNN's request for.
Shocking. And just to be clear, like, these schools, however much it is in Arizona, it's like $6,000 or something. That doesn't pay for the tuition at a private school. It doesn't pay for a school bus to pick you up. If you have a special needs child, right? If someone on the spectrum, it doesn't pay for the IEP. Or if you have a neurodivergent child with ADHD, it doesn't pay for the specialized care that they need, right? That comes from actual qualified teachers in public schools, right? If you want to learn more about the statistics around how school vouchers only disproportionately benefit, I think in Arizona, I was reading an analysis, 97% go to upper middle class, to wealthy white children specifically. It's because these schools, you have to live poor children. Their parents are working 3 jobs each. They don't have a ride to these schools. Are private schools in poor neighborhoods? Of course not. They're in very rich neighborhoods, miles and miles away. Do they give free school lunches? Of course not. Do they pay? I went to private Christian school. I used to have to work and clean classrooms when I was like 8 years old in order to afford my books, because my parents couldn't pay the tuition. Like, you can't, none of those costs can be afforded by poor children. So it's another Jim Crow law. Oh, sure, you can take this measly $6,000 that won't pay for anything at a private school, and the only people that could do that and use that as just like a little tax credit are rich people. Period. No one else can afford it. No one. And ProPublica is a great resource if you want to learn more about the actual data around how school vouchers are just a scam and more perpetuation of Jim Crow. And one of the things they're tracking in the South is that they're used for segregation, right? Everyone gets a school voucher, but if you're a Black child, they don't have to let you into the school. So in the South, these school vouchers are being used to create segregation whites-only schools. And that data is available by ProPublica. Look up ProPublica school vouchers, segregation schools, there's multiple data sets and articles on it, and they'll come up and you can read all about it, as well as data sets for Arizona and places like Ohio about how school vouchers only help the ridiculously wealthy, disproportionately white children. Whatever could go wrong. And that's another miscalculation by MAGA. It's these children who are going to pay for us to retire, limiting their lifetime earnings, depriving them of an education, is going to ensure that we can't retire. So it's just another genius, and by genius, I mean absolutely idiotic move by MAGA. Sorry, I can't talk about school vouchers because I become enraged. And like I said, our reading and math scores have consistently dropped since we adopted school vouchers. Oh, Perfect timing since I'm right here. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention was, and all I hear from Republicans is, God, able-bodied men need to get to work and get jobs. Well, that's what people were doing, what lower income people who couldn't afford to go to university were doing with Job Corps, and Trump defunded it. Like, listen to this.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. I tried making a few calls, trying to figure out something, but as of so far, there's nothing that's solid ground.
18-year-old Cameron is dazed. His son, reality, he has no place to live.
Where are your parents?
One is in jail, the other is dead.
He lived at Detroit Job Corps on Detroit's west side, a career training facility for young people. A sad scene. Friday afternoon, dozens lugged garbage bags full of their belongings, some into their parents' trunks, and others, well, they didn't have anywhere to go.
The staff, they had us go to the wreck at about 1:30, and they broke the news to us, and they had us go to the dorms, pack our stuff.
The staff on site would not say a word to us, but sources tell us it was shut down after recent cuts at the Department of Labor, which oversees the program.
I didn't want him to be a statistic, so I wanted him to be focused and get his education.
16-year-old Carl.
You guys want poor kids to get jobs, right? And have upward mobility and get job training. So why would you defund the job training? I thought that's what you wanted, were people to work so they could qualify for Medicaid, but then you canceled the programs that teach them marketable skills. Everything conservatives do is a hypocritical lie.
Davis lived here, and his mom recently lost their house, and there's more.
I have breast cancer surgery next week, so now I'm debating having my surgery canceled so I can make sure my son is okay.
I'm livid. I am livid. I cannot believe this.
Community activist Pastor Mo trying to help out here after getting calls from frantic mothers. He's worried about the short and long-term solutions for these kids.
These are not kids are in a youth home who got caught in a crime. These are kids who are trying to avoid getting caught in a crime.
These pictures obtained by ABC 24 show students at Dr. Benjamin L. Hook's Job Corps Center in Whitehaven packing up and being sent home.
It's just heartbreaking for me, and me thinking I'm finna finish my courses and get my CMA certification. So it's just been tough.
The U.S. Department of Labor announced they have paused all Job Corps centers across the country, stating the decision aligns with President Trump's 2026 budget proposal to create meaningful results for both students and taxpayers. Rachel Nolan, the mother of a Job Corps student, emotional about what will happen to the students left behind.
It's plenty of kids in that building who depend on that building that don't have nobody. Plenty of kids that don't have a parent or nobody in their family like me.
Nolan says she had to pick up her.
Tell people to get jobs and get in the workforce, and then take away the programs that help people with nothing do that. You can't have it both ways. Which is it? Republicans are pathological liars.
Her daughter from Job Corps without any notification from an official at the facility. She says the most painful part, never being allowed to help her child with her belongings.
To watch my baby bring all her belongings down with 4 other students who were residents here was heartbreaking. They created a domino effect. Them kids are in survival mode now.
Sorry, I don't know. Went and I just kept recording it. It's just screenshots of like reasons people use Job Corps and things. I thought it was interesting, but yeah, you said poor kids, get jobs, get in the workforce. And then when they do, you defund those programs. You can't have it both ways. You're defunding public schools. Then when people are looking to just enter the workforce and get job training like you told them, you defund
Where
that.
are you going to go?
I don't know.
And then you crucify poor people and say they're not trying hard enough. It makes no sense. I can't stand America. America is a very tough place. Oh, they want to privatize everything. Believe me, the point of all of this is to privatize. These are corporate profiteers trying to privatize everything in America. That's what it is. They're trying to privatize Social Security. Look what Donald Trump is doing. Look at the market manipulation. Use your brains, MAGA, and think about if all of our retirement was in the stock market right now, what would be happening? What would be happening if we had listened to conservatives and privatized Social Security, privatized, if we put all of our money in the stock market? Look what would be happening right now under an authoritarian dictator idiot. We'd all have nothing. Did I say use your brain, MAGA is what I meant. Sorry, I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm having a tough Friday. This has been a long week of just absolute BS. I don't even know what to say sometimes. Maybe I will debate soon. Maybe I'll debate someone this weekend. I feel like I need to scream at some unsuspecting MAGA man who thinks he knows what he's talking about, because I need to take this rage out on someone, because this is ridiculous. Like, especially when I watch that Job Corps video, like when I think about, I already know what school vouchers do in states. Texas just adopted school vouchers. It makes me want to sob, because I know what's going to happen to poor children. Like, I already know what happens. We've had school vouchers for a long time. And then, like they say, 2 years ago, we gave them to, it used to be, school vouchers were a thing where they're like, we'll give them to poor children. If poor children want to go to a private school, well, poor children then make it 100% voucher, right? Give them a scholarship. Poor children can't do that. But there used to be a limit on what your income was to get a school voucher. And now you can make $10 million and you can steal from public schools. Cool. And then it's not like we're taxing those people who make $10 million any other way. They just don't pay taxes and then can defund public schools as well. Amazing. What could ever go wrong? It's screaming, poor people get jobs while we defund Job Corps. You can't write this shit. You cannot write this shit. And we'll know if elections are being rigged, because every Republican in Congress needs to go. And if somehow they're reelected, then maybe I'll believe elections are rigged, because there's no world in which anyone, unless you are making, unless your income is obscenely high, that you are benefiting from anything conservatives are doing legislative wise. This is the biggest robbery of the poor to give to the rich in a single bill in U.S. history. And then our children's children will be in debt. Nobody is going to people won't buy up the U.S. debt anymore. Charter schools are constantly in the news for fraud. Charter schools are actually a little better than even private schools or homeschools. Like, private schools and homeschools have no reporting requirements on, education standards. At least charter schools, there's okay, and I'm only speaking for Arizona. It depends on your state, but charter schools in Arizona, they have some testing and reporting requirements, whereas private schools and homeschool, now you can just say, I'm a school and just steal voucher money. It's just like fraud. When we, on the broadcast, I was doing examples of school voucher fraud in Arizona. Just people rent a space in a strip mall and say they're a private school and teach everyone nothing. It's and collect school voucher money. It's obscene, and there are no testing requirements, year over year for the students. I taught at a charter school, and I don't know. I want to say it's but I thought it was I think it was actually a private school, but we did the standardized testing, anyways, we did the charter school testing. Bruce Wayne's mother. Oh my gosh, it's funny seeing you comment because you said something yesterday that was funny, and now I can't remember what it is. And I was thinking of it earlier when I was walking, and it was a comment you wrote yesterday, and now I can't remember. Hopefully, it will come to me. You said something in the chat yesterday, and I was thinking I should say I read that and it was funny, and now I can't remember. It will come to me again. You're funny. Thank you for being so funny. I'm sorry life sucks so bad and we all have to live through this. I don't know what else to say, but I'm glad Kilmara Garcia is coming back, but just recognize the distraction. But I'm going to find the indictment and do a bunch of research and figure out what's what, and then call out all Pam Bondi's lies as usual. But still, we need to focus. I was reading, or I think I said this yesterday, I think they're trying to pass this bill through the Senate by July 4th, which I think July 4th is a Friday. So we need to stay as vigilant as possible. Harass your senators, harass your representatives, and do not let them forget that when and if they vote for this bill, they are leaving Congress shortly after. That's all we can do, is just let them know, like, I hope you enjoy voting for this because you're all leaving after you rob us all. That needs to be our primary focus for as long as possible. And then after that, this is the only legislation Trump's pretty much going to try to force through. And then we can focus after that on the midterms and trying to campaign against people and stop as many Republicans as possible from being elected. I don't know. It's scary to be living in these times. Okay, it's Friday. I've been live for 3 hours and 40 minutes. I've got to go do some things. I think my dad just got home. I can hear him, so I've got to go do some things for him. So I'm going to end the live now. I don't know. I might debate sometime this weekend. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm itching to yell at someone. I did so much reading last night. Like, somebody needs to be told they're stupid. So if I debate, I'll let you guys know in the Discord. But otherwise, Monday morning, Fax and I will be going live, which we probably will be debating because that guy, Andrew, we talked to last Monday, messaged both of us and said he wants to talk to us again. So God only knows what that means. If you watched our live last Monday, we got in an argument with someone and he said he wants to talk to us again. I think he's been doing some research, so we'll see. But yeah, so 5 a.m. If I don't debate this weekend, then I'll see you guys at 5 a.m. Pacific time, 8 a.m. Eastern with Facts on Monday, and then I'll do the People's Receipts after that. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. I'm so glad we all met because otherwise I could not survive what we're going through alone. Have a great weekend. I will see